Swallowing this seed grants you eternal life. But the price is 18 years of silence. I've held my tongue for 18 years. Couldn't even confess to the goddess I loved. Couldn't even cry out when my father died. Before he passed, my father warned me. The seed within me would mature when I turned 18. My body would be reborn. But I must not speak a word before then, or the seed's aura would leak, attracting heavenly lightning. I'd likely be struck dead. But on the day before my 18th birthday, my fiancée held a knife and said she'd rather die than marry a mute.
Ening, listen to me. 10 years ago, Jiang Fan's father saved our patriarch's life. Out of gratitude, the patriarch promised you two would marry at 18. If you break the promise, our family will be called ungrateful.
The crowd looked at me in the corner and whispered, "Looks decent, but a pity he's mute, and has no spiritual root." Sui Ning is a peerless genius with a 6th grade spiritual root, favored by the Qingyun sect elder, set to become his true disciple. Her future is limitless. One is in the heavens, the other in the dirt. They're from completely different worlds. Husband, if we must, let Yuran marry him in Ening's place. His wife, Wang Yingfeng, said helplessly. The Su family's eyes all turned to Su Yuran. The girl's figure was graceful, her beauty peerless. A pity she was born of a concubine. Her status in the Su family was far below Su Ning's. Wang Yingfeng wanted Su Yuran to marry a mute in her daughter's place. Many in the Su family couldn't bear to see it. A great beauty like Su Yuran was simply not a match for a mute like Jiang Fan. Hearing this, Su Yuran's face instantly lost all color. Biting her red lip, she pleaded helplessly.
Father, I still wish to serve by your side. Please don't marry me off.
Yuran, our Su family has declined for a century. We finally have a genius like your sister. The family's future rests on her. I beg you, marry Jiang Fan in your sister's place.
Seeing her still hesitate, Su Jingyan gritted his teeth and bent his knees. Must your father kneel and beg you? Su Yuran was shocked, quickly helping him up. Father, don't do this. I'll marry him, all right? Hearing this, Su Jingyan showed a relieved smile. He looked at Jiang Fan and said, "Little Fan, what do you think of this?" I walked calmly up to Su Yuran. Looking at the tears on her face, I sighed silently in my heart. Poor thing, she's been plotted against by her entire family. The Su family never intended to let their beloved daughter, Sui Ning, marry me. They'd long planned to sacrifice Su Yuran instead. From Sui Ning threatening to kill herself, to Wang Yingfeng offering Su Yuran as a substitute bride, then to Su Jingyan playing the family card. It was all planned out in advance. Su Yuran is naive and kind. She was easily tricked into agreeing. How could I bear to hurt such a poor, innocent girl? I took out the pen and paper I carry with me, wrote a note. "Uncle, you don't need to force Yuran. The Su mansion has taken care of me for 10 years. That's already more than paid back the life-saving favor my father did back then. Let's just call off this engagement right here." Honestly, even if it wasn't for Su Yuran, I was already planning to end the engagement anyway. Ever since 10 years ago, my father and I saved old Master Su and have lived in the Su mansion ever since. After my father passed away 3 years ago, things cooled off. The entire Su family gradually grew distant from me. I know their patience has worn completely thin. If they weren't worried that calling off the engagement would hurt the family's reputation, they would have kicked me out of the Su mansion long ago. Now I know it's time for me to leave. After reading what I wrote, Su Jingyan was ecstatic inside. As long as Jiang Fan stays in the Su family, he's a constant reminder to Su Jingyan that the Su mansion owes Jiang Fan and his father a huge debt of gratitude. Day after day, year after year, Su Jingyan has had a thorn in his side and could do nothing about it. Now that Jiang Fan is leaving, this is absolutely wonderful news for him. Surprisingly, Wang Yingfeng speaks sincerely and says, "Xiao Fan, this can't be. The engagement was arranged by the old master. How dare we go against his wishes? If he comes back from his travels and finds out we didn't keep our promise, your uncle and I will be in big trouble. If you really are grateful for the Su mansion's care these 10 years, you should just marry Yuran. Then we'll all be family from now on." Some of the sharper clan members saw Wang Yingfeng's real plan. She wants to marry Su Yuran off to the mute Jiang Fan, ruin Su Yuran's entire life and happiness, to eliminate the threat to her own daughter, Su Ning. Su Yuran has outstanding poise and unrivaled beauty. She's a famous beauty far and wide. Many sons of noble clans have longed after her. If she were to marry into a wealthy family, or become the wife or concubine of a powerful cultivator, she would undoubtedly become a rival to Su Ning. Now marrying her off to Jiang Fan, a guy without even a spiritual root, this waste completely eliminates the hidden danger. How vicious. I see through all clearly. Looking at Su Yuran silently weeping, I sigh helplessly, thinking to myself, even if I help her this time, after I leave, she still won't escape Wang Yingfeng's clutches. Her fate then would probably be worse than marrying a mute. All these years, Su Yuran was the only one kind to me. The year father died, I fell gravely ill from grief. I lay in bed for 7 days and nights. The Su family ignored me. It was Su Yuran who tirelessly cared for me for 7 days. That's how I survived. So I can't bear to abandon this pure, kind-hearted girl, leaving her alone in the Su family's pit of fire to fend for herself. After much thought, I reluctantly pick up the pen and write one word for Wang Yingfeng. Agreed. Seeing this, Wang Yingfeng shows a satisfied smile. Yuran, take Jiang Fan quickly to get measured for some clothes. You'll marry in 1 month. She can't wait for us to marry, to avoid complications. Su Yuran wipes her tears. Eyes swollen, she comes to me. Come with me. I also have something to tell you. In the boudoir, Su Yuran opens the dressing table drawer. From a corner, she pulls out a small, well-hidden pouch. It contains bits of silver. Little mute. You shouldn't have agreed, Su Yuran sighs. They don't truly wish for you to marry me. They just don't want the reputation of being ungrateful. Once my sister enters Qingyun's sect, they'll mistreat you. Find ways to drive you away. Hearing this, I smile slightly. She's not that foolish. Su Yuran presses the money pouch into my palm, saying softly, take this money, leave Su Manor, leave Guizhou City. I don't want you to live a life like mine. I write note. What about you? A trace of bitterness escapes Su Yuran's lips. This is my home. No matter how poorly they treat me, I cannot leave. Just then, hearing the maids chatting and laughing. Heading to the storeroom for silk, she says anxiously, you must go now. Don't hesitate, but thinking this parting might be forever. Never seeing this childhood companion again in this life. An inexplicable ache wells up. Her voice choked, she says, out there, don't easily trust strangers. Don't eat their food, don't drink their water, and don't just talk to anyone. If people find out you're mute, they'll bully you. Understand, little mute? As she spoke, her tears slowly fell. I patted her head. From now on, you should call me husband.
Why you can talk? You're not mute?
When did I ever say I was mute?
You were pretending to be mute? Why?
I clasped my hands behind my back, silently gazing at the sky outside the window. Suddenly, 2 earth-shattering claps of thunder boomed across the clear sky. Startling everyone in the Su household, they rushed out to look. Su Yuran was also startled by the sudden thunder. How could there be thunder out of nowhere? Su Yuran saw a trace of sorrow in my expression. Thinking I had unspeakable difficulties, she softened her voice. All right, I won't ask. Pack your things and leave quickly. If Annie Wang finds out you've been pretending to be mute, she'll get suspicious again. I turned and gently grasped her delicate hand. I'm not leaving. I'm staying to marry you, to protect you from now on. Su Yuran's pretty face flushed crimson in an instant. The words protect you echoed in her ears. Her heart began to race for no reason. She pulled her hand back in a fluster, chiding softly. Don't talk nonsense. Your spiritual root isn't even as good as mine. I smiled without a word, because today is the final day of the 18 years. Tomorrow, the seed within me will sprout. Then, I will be reborn anew. I looked at Su Yuran with confidence. Believe me, Su Yuran met my calm, resolute gaze. A wave of warmth surged in her heart. Since her mother passed away, this was the first time someone said they'd protect her. After a long silence, she pushed the money pouch into my hand again. I frowned slightly. She still didn't believe in me. Su Yuran's cheeks tinged with a shy blush as she whispered, use this as the betrothal gift to marry me. Boom. It wasn't thunder in the sky, but in my heart. I never imagined a girl would offer her life savings for me to use as a betrothal gift to marry her. What are you standing there for? Su Yuran reached out and gently straightened my clothes. She said softly, Uncle Jiang lived a simple life. He didn't leave you any gold or silver. I hope my savings can help you. I can no longer hold back, pulling her into a tight embrace. Perhaps the way we came together was an accident, but the ending will surely be right. The best marriage is simply meeting the right person. Su Yuran blushed furiously. Her mind went completely blank. Her body stiffened, unable to move, letting me hold her. After a long moment, she snapped out of it, flustered, and broke free. I'm going to take measurements for the clothes. I watched her fleeing figure. I put the money bag back on the table and smiled. How can I marry my wife in such a shabby way, Yuran? I'll marry you with a grand and spectacular ceremony. 2 consecutive thunderclaps boomed. I glared fiercely at the sky. Strike, strike. After tonight, you'll have no more chances. Meanwhile, in Wang Yingfeng's bedroom at the Su Manor. Aunt, how could you marry cousin Yuran to that good-for-nothing Jiang fan? Lu Zheng, who had also lived at the Su Manor for 10 years, stood before Wang Yingfeng, his face etched with anxiety. Please reconsider. Let me marry my cousin instead. Lu Zheng was Wang Yingfeng's nephew. He was clever, sharp, and a genius with a 3rd-grade spiritual root. Therefore, Wang Yingfeng had brought him to the Su Manor since childhood to nurture him. He lived up to her expectations. By the age of 20, he had already reached the 5th layer of qi refining. This made Wang Yingfeng look very good in front of her maternal family. The only thing that gave Wang Yingfeng a headache was Lu Zheng's deep affection for Su Yuran. He had always regarded her as his woman. Zheng'er, Yuran marrying Jiang Fan concerns the future of the Su family. I can indulge you in other matters, but I won't allow you to make trouble with this one. To completely ruin Su Yuran, Wang Yingfeng was determined to marry her off to that useless Jiang Fan. But seeing Lu Zheng's grief-stricken and indignant expression, she said meaningfully, I'm only forbidding you from interfering with their wedding. I didn't say you can't act after they're married. If Jiang Fan were to meet an unfortunate end, you could still marry Yuran then. If Su Yuran becomes a widow, those great families and powerful cultivators won't accept her either. Lu Zhang's eyes lit up with sudden understanding. I see. Thank you, Aunt. I'll go back now to help them prepare the wedding. To make them marry as soon as possible. Go on. Don't forget to get up early tomorrow. I'll accompany you to the testing pagoda to reevaluate your spiritual root grade. Yes. Lu Zheng cupped his hands in salute. He left with a beaming smile. But as soon as he left Wang Yingfeng's room, the smile on his face gradually faded, revealing a trace of malice. Marry me to something Jiang Fan has used? How could that old woman even think of such a thing? I, Lu Zheng, only want the best. After the reevaluation tomorrow, if a higher spiritual root is detected, I will definitely take Su Yuran back, right in front of all the Su family members. The next morning, I paced back and forth in the room, occasionally glancing at the sky outside the window. My eyes were thick with bloodshot veins. Why isn't the sun up yet? I've waited 18 years for this day. I thought I had great composure, that my emotions wouldn't be swayed by external things, that I could calmly welcome the seeds sprouting. But when this day truly arrived, I didn't sleep all night. Anxiety churned within me. Did my father deceive me? Could this seed truly allow me to be reborn? Countless thoughts made me tense up involuntarily. Suddenly, a piercing ray of light pierced the clouds and shot into the room. At almost the same moment, I faintly heard a cracking, crunching sound, as if some hard shell was splitting. The seed was sprouting. The moment of rebirth after 18 years of waiting had come. I quickly sat cross-legged, holding my breath and focusing my spirit. The cracking sound in my ears grew more and more intense. Suddenly, a thunderous roar that could shatter mountains and split the earth seemed right beside my ear. It shook me until my vision went black. In the darkness, I saw a tender sprout breaking through the soil. Its emergence seemed to disturb some supreme existence, which sent down bolts of sky-rending, earth-destroying lightning, trying to force it back underground. The sprout slowly unfurled, effortlessly absorbing all the lightning that struck it, and growing robustly at a visible speed. 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. 1 zhang, 2 zhang, 3 zhang, 10 zhang, 100 zhang, 1,000 zhang. The seed, using the heaven and earth's lightning as nourishment, grew into a towering giant tree with no end in sight. The lightning, knowing it was powerless to stop its growth, gradually ceased. Just as I thought everything was over, a roar of immense divine might shook the heavens.
How dare you steal my Taishu ancient clan's divine tree? No matter who you are, no matter where you are, we will find you. We will find you.
The roar entered my ears, and I felt my head was about to split open with pain. My soul felt on the verge of being shattered within that boundless divine light. At this critical moment, the Taishu ancient tree scattered a ray of green divine light that merged into my body. Only then did that feeling of being torn apart gradually fade. Moreover, under the effect of the green divine light, a spiritual root took form within my dantian. Having survived the ordeal, my face was deathly pale. Who was that? A roar that had traversed untold space and time had almost destroyed me. And why did he say this tree belonged to the Taishu ancient clan? Could it be father was hiding more secrets from me? It took me a good while to calm the turmoil in my heart. I instinctively looked at my abdomen, and my voice trembled violently. A spiritual root. I finally have a spiritual root. I've waited 18 years for this moment. Immediately after, I knelt on the ground, my eyes filled with sorrow. Father, do you see? Your child has given birth to a spiritual root. I can protect myself now. Your spirit in heaven can rest in peace. After a long time, I calmed my emotions. I carefully examined my spiritual root and was stunned by what I saw. My spiritual root is transparent, with no color at all. Spiritual roots are usually red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, black, or white. There's no such thing as a transparent one. Su Yining's spiritual root is a deep blue. That means she has a 6th grade spiritual root. Legend says the highest is a white spiritual root, representing the 9th grade. But a transparent spiritual root has never been heard of before. Looks like I need to go to the detection hall to confirm this. There's an ancient force on the continent called the Heavenly Secrets Hall. The prestigious Azure Cloud sect is just one of the 9 major sects under its command. It has established a detection tower in every city. It tests everyone's spiritual roots for free. If an outstanding spiritual root is detected, one can apply to the local detection tower master to join the affiliated sect. For example, Su Yining tested a 6th grade spiritual root at a detection tower, which startled an elder from the Azure Cloud sect. He exceptionally designated her as a true disciple. It said that if one's talent is heaven-defying, it might even attract someone from the Heavenly Secrets Hall to take them as a disciple. But that's just a rumor. Since the Lone Boat City Detection Tower was established, no one has ever been directly recruited by the Heavenly Secrets Hall. I wonder what grade this transparent spiritual root of mine will be. At that moment, I suddenly noticed that on the lush, leafy Taishu divine tree, huge transparent fruits hung everywhere. A cultivation manual was sealed inside the lowest hanging fruit. A high-grade, Shin-level heart technique, dragon-seeking scripture. Seeing the words on the manual, I was shocked. The Su family, as an old established force in Lone Boat City, only has a mid-grade Huang-level sword technique as their clan's foundational art. And that's considered a top-tier technique, ranked in the top 10 of Lone Boat City. The Su family has faced many crises throughout its history, all triggered by others coveting this very technique. This high-grade, Shin-level heart technique is enough to cause chaos across the land. My breath hitched. I ran to the tree, trying to jump up and grab the fruit. But an invisible force pressed me back to the ground. A strand of information slowly appeared in my mind. The lowest fruit can only be picked upon reaching the foundation establishment realm. Immediately after, the dark world before my eyes gradually faded away. I returned to the simple room I lived in and stood there dazed. The experience just now felt like a dream. But the spiritual root in my abdomen told me it was all real. I excitedly licked my lips. I couldn't wait to break through to the foundation establishment realm right now. Not wanting to waste a single moment after leaving the Su Manor. I half walked, half ran, panting heavily, until I arrived at the detection tower. It was still early morning, and the detection tower hadn't opened yet. Young men and women waiting in front of the tower for their tests. Jing'er, don't be nervous during today's retest. The tower master said, last time you were too nervous. So your result was below normal. Wang Yingfeng stood with Lu Zheng in front of the testing tower, waiting for the door to open. You should have been at least upper third grade. But due to nerves, you only tested as middle third grade. Just that one grade difference made it impossible for me to secure more resources for you from the Su family. Lu Zheng nodded seriously. Su family resources are limited anyway, and most go to Su Yining. The rest are allocated based on talent. Many Su clansmen have third grade spiritual roots. Being one grade lower than others means far fewer resources. So this retest must show his true level. If you test as upper third grade, Annie will do everything to persuade the Su clan, and make an exception to let you learn the Su family sword art. For this nephew, Wang Yingfeng was ready to go all out, even planning to pass the Su family's course secret to an outsider. What? Lu Zheng was instantly thrilled. The Su family sword art is a mid-level yellow grade technique, highly ranked in Lone Boat City. Only core Su clansmen can access it. After 10 years of enduring looks in the Su family, he could finally touch their core legacy. Excited, he glimpsed a familiar figure from the corner of his eye. Surprised, he asked Jiang Fan, "What are you doing here?" I calmly wrote a note. "Same as you. I plan to keep pretending to be mute until I have strength to protect myself." Lu Zheng sneered. "Same as me? Huh. Spiritual roots are innate. You either have them or you don't. What's wrong with living as immortal? Why chase what you can't have?" I clenched my fist quietly. Why am I doomed to be immortal forever? Well, you're a lofty warrior. Then the door opened. The testing tower master was a lazy old man, numb from decades of the same job. He said expressionlessly, "Same as always. Those with outstanding aptitude get technique rewards." Everyone looked indifferent, since ordinary people rarely get rewards. In recent decades, the only one was Su Yining, who got a low-level yellow grade heart technique for her 6th grade spiritual root. With that heart technique, Su Yining reached Qi Refinement 8th layer in just half a year. Even a 6th grade spiritual root only got the lowest level technique. Others had even less hope, but my heart stirred. There were still techniques to be obtained. To break through to the foundation establishment realm, a mind technique is essential. Mind techniques are specifically for cultivating one's realm, compared to attack methods like swordplay or fist techniques. Mind techniques are more core and precious. Every power treats mind techniques as treasures, not allowing outsiders to touch them. The detection tower is the only place where ordinary people can obtain mind techniques as rewards. But getting the reward is extremely difficult. I wasn't confident I could get it either. After all, I had no idea what grade a transparent spiritual root was. Everyone entered the tower, which had many separate chambers. Lu Zheng and I entered adjacent chambers. I looked at a floating crystal ruler in the center. It was marked with 9 color gradations, representing grades 1 through 9. When a palm is placed on it, the martial artist's spiritual root activates the corresponding color on the ruler, revealing the root's grade. I stepped up and placed my hand on it. With a hum, the ruler immediately trembled lightly. A ripple began to rise from the bottom. It rose to the red gradation, then without pause, ascended to orange. My anxious heart relaxed slightly. I had been worried the transparent root was some kind of grade-less, useless root. Soon, the ripple surged to yellow, then with fierce momentum, rushed to green. My heart raced. Green meant a 4th grade root, already surpassing Lu Zheng's grade. In Lone Boat City, this was a rare, excellent root. But the ripple clearly had no intention of stopping. Green blue. I clenched my fist, my heart trembling violently. 6th grade spiritual root. I had reached Su Yining's spiritual root grade. But the ripple didn't stop. Purple, 7th grade. Black, 8th grade. My heart leapt into my throat. 8th grade. I had broken Lone Boat City's highest record. The ripples still had immense force left. It soared all the way to the highest gradation. White. Ninth grade. My pupils contracted sharply. My eyes brimmed with irrepressible ecstasy. I actually possessed an unprecedented ninth grade spiritual root. This was a legendary level. Yet, the ripples still didn't stop. It shot upward again. Beyond the ruler's end was a large blank space, with no more gradations. But the ripple continued to rise. Finally, with a zing, it shot past the ruler and flew out of the chamber. This left me totally confused. What kind of spiritual root am I, really? I tested, but it feels like I didn't. Almost the instant ripples surged from the crystal ruler. Lu Zheng next door stared at the ruler. The ripples rise slowed, crawling like a snail on a wall, barely settling at the borderline between third grade, mid, and high. His face darkened. Rise. Damn it, rise. Lu Zheng hammered the crystal ruler, roaring in fury. He thought reaching third grade high was a sure thing, but he fell just a hair short. That tiny gap cost him the Su family's resources, and Wang Yingfeng's promised Su-style sword technique. Then ripples from my crystal ruler burst out, sweeping past his chamber. The powerful surge stirred the ripples in Lu Zheng's ruler, jolting the stall descent back to life. It climbed through green, cyan, blue, purple, black, finally locking on white. Lu Zheng watched the crystal ruler blaze with white light. Overjoyed, he exclaimed, I can't believe I've tested as a legendary white spiritual root. The tower master lounged in a bamboo chair, pen in one hand, lazily holding the register with the other. Then, chamber 3's stone door lit up first, emitting a dim, crimson glow. He found 3 in the book, writing slowly. Chamber 3, Zhu family's daughter, Zhu Tingting, first grade, low spiritual root. Soon, other chambers lit up one after another. Chamber 7, Lu family merchant guild's young master Yuangdong, first grade, high spiritual root. Chamber 1, Cheng family fort's young master Zhang Xiangqiu, first grade low. After recording several results, the tower master shook his head. Sigh. Lone Boat City declines year after year. If not for the recent 6th grade spiritual root, Su Yining, this detection tower would have been shut down. Just then, a beam of white light shot from Lu Zheng's chamber. The tower master rubbed his eyes, bewildered. White? The white mark on the crystal ruler means... He leapt up, thrilled, face full of shock. A 9th grade appears. As he spoke, the white light intensified, blazing like a blinding sun, piercing the tower, soaring skyward as a white beam, ripping through the clouds. Meanwhile, at the Su family, Su Yining had just finished meditating, spiritual energy swirling around her. Beside her, Su Jingyan beamed with pride. Yining, you've broken through to Qi refining 9th layer. At your age, that's unprecedented in Lone Boat City. A flicker of pride crossed Su Yining's brow. Just wait till I get to Azure Cloud Sect, when obtaining a yellow grade medium or even high grade cultivation technique. The cultivation progress will be faster. Suddenly, she noticed a white light pillar shooting into the sky not far away. She couldn't help but ask in surprise, what is that? Su Zhengyan looked in that direction. He was immediately puzzled and said, it appeared from the detection tower. Could it be a peerless spiritual root manifesting? I heard your grandfather mention. Many years ago in the neighboring Biyun city, an unparalleled genius with an 8th grade spiritual root emerged. When detecting the spiritual root, a black beam shot straight into the clouds. Exactly like this before us. 8th grade is a black beam. Then the white beam must be 9th grade. Su Yining stared at the beam in disbelief, unconsciously biting her red lips, proud as she was. She couldn't accept that someone in Lone Boat City was more outstanding than her, and far surpassing her. Watching the gradually fading light, she gritted her teeth and rushed toward the detection tower. I must see who he is. Su Jingyan also followed. He too wanted to see who could stir the white light. Pillar, what kind of divine being? The entire Lone Boat City was also thrown into chaos by the appearance of the white beam. Countless martial artists frantically swarmed toward the detection tower, witnessing the rare spectacle seen once in centuries. Among them were even a few elders of certain families, rumored to have died years ago and not seen for ages. They couldn't sit still, breaking their seclusion to emerge, vying to catch a glimpse of this peerless monster's true face. Meanwhile, inside the detection tower, chaos erupted. The martial artists being tested rushed out the doors, gathering before Lu Zheng's stone door. Stunned beyond words, the tower master was acting like a madman, muttering unconsciously a myth. I witnessed a myth. In my lifetime, I actually saw the legendary 9th grade spiritual root. This is the exact same spiritual root as our Tianji Pavilion's master. A young man, fists clenched tightly, said jealously, Tower Master, is 9th grade necessarily the strongest? The Tower Master glared at him. Nonsense. 9th grade is of course the strongest. Seeming to recall something, he paused and said uncertainly, there is, however, a spiritual root in this world that surpasses 9th grade. It's called the limitless spiritual root. Legend says it's formless, shapeless, and transparent in color. This spiritual root is tens, even hundreds of times stronger than ninth grade. But this spiritual root only exists in myths. It doesn't exist in reality. Do you think you have a limitless spiritual root? The Tower Master mocked. Ninth grade is the existence you'll look up to for the rest of your life. Treasure this chance to face a ninth grade prodigy. Once he grows up, he won't even give you a proper glance in your lifetime. He's not even qualified. Hearing this, the young man's eyes filled with bitterness. A single talent test determines their future status, high or low. One is a dragon in the sky, the other an ant on the ground. The contrast is brutally despairing. I'm in the next room, and I naturally sense the commotion. No way. Lu Zheng has a ninth grade spiritual root? I look surprised. If he had such talent, why did he consume the Su family's resources for 10 years, and still fall short of Su Yining's 6th grade? As I pondered, I suddenly noticed my green crystal ruler reacting again. A hazy light flew from it, landing before me. When the glow faded, it was 2 cultivation manuals. I was instantly delighted. These are rewards for me. I quickly picked them up for a closer look. One is a yellow rank high mental cultivation method called Clear Wind True Scripture. The other is a yellow rank high attack technique called 7-Star Sword Art. The highest grade manual in Solitary Boat City is only yellow rank medium. Yet I got 2 yellow rank high manuals at once. Most importantly, one is the mental cultivation method I desperately need. What grade am I really? To receive such a high level reward. I couldn't help but be amazed. Su Yining, with her 6th grade spiritual root, only got 1 yellow rank, low mental cultivation method as a reward. But regardless of the reason, with these 2 manuals, and this transparent spiritual root, I'll improve by leaps and bounds in the shortest time. I tucked the manuals away and opened the stone door. The loud creaking sound drew the attention of many onlookers. Oh, it's just Jiangfan. You scared me. I thought it was Lu Zheng coming out. Jiangfan tested again and still has no spiritual root, right? Sigh, just a wall part. One is a legendary 9th grade. The other has no spiritual root. The gap is huge. I frowned, wanted to argue with them. But on second thought, why bother? Secretly cultivating these 2 yellow rank high manuals and quietly boosting my strength is the way to go. I have no backing now. If people knew my cards, it'd just invite trouble. So I just smiled faintly. Jiangfan, you're here too? What's the situation inside? Su Yining and Su Jingyan rushed over and spotted me, who was also testing. Su Yining bit her red lip hard, firing questions rapidly. With a calm expression, I wrote on a slip of paper. Lu Jing tested as a 9th grade spiritual root. What? Su Yining's face instantly turned pale. She staggered back several steps, unable to believe it. Impossible. A 9th grade really appeared. And it's Lu Zheng, who was fostered in our family. Proud as she was, she couldn't bear the blow, and tears fell. I sighed softly to myself. I always felt something was off with Lu Zheng's spiritual root test results. So I casually comforted her, writing, "Focus on your cultivation. Wait patiently for the future." Su Yining glanced at me, but she thought I was mocking her and snapped angrily. "You're happy to see me cry, aren't you? You think me refusing the marriage is my comeuppance, right? You're overthinking it. Even if I'm not as good as Lu Zheng, I'm still a prodigy with a 6th grade spiritual root. I'm 100, 1,000 times better than a waste like you." I was speechless. Why are you taking your frustration out on me? It's like the dog biting Lu Dongbin, not recognizing a good heart. At that moment, the Tower Master, who had also noticed Su Jingyan's arrival, hurried over. A warm, friendly smile spread across his face. "Brother Su, congratulations." Su Jingyan was flattered beyond measure. The Tower Master usually didn't give anyone the time of day. He only showed a slight smile for the city lord. To be so friendly and call him Brother Su so suddenly made him feel lightheaded, as if walking on clouds. Then, the strongest in Lone Boat City, City Lord Yi Jifeng, approached with a cupped fist salute. "Master Su, congratulations are in order. The Su Manor has produced a true dragon." Seeing the forced smile on Yi Jifeng's face, Su Jingyan felt even more like he was dreaming. Not long ago, he had been turned away when visiting Yi Jifeng with heavy gifts. The man couldn't be bothered with him. Now, he was actively seeking favor with envy and jealousy. Several reclusive old masters, whom Su Jingyan once had to address as senior, also came over warmly, chatting about connections between his great-grandfather, even the Su ancestors, and their own families. It seemed overnight, the Su family went from an obscure, declining clan to suddenly becoming Lone Boat City's hottest, top family. Su Jingyan was dazed for a long time before finally calming down. He knew it was all thanks to Lu Zheng. Wang Yingfeng walked over, her face full of pride. "Husband, remember what you said when I insisted against all odds on bringing Zheng to the Su family to nurture?" Hearing this, Su Jingyan's face flushed with shame. He had strongly opposed it back then, as the Su family's resources were limited. One more outsider meant much less for his own clansmen. He only reluctantly agreed because Wang Yingfeng threatened suicide. Who could have imagined Lu Zheng would be so outstanding? I was blind. Thanks to you, my lucky star, my wife. Our Su family has connected with Zheng, a peerless prodigy. Su Jingyan held Wang Yingfeng, his heart filled with emotion. Wang Yingfeng beamed with pride and said, "That's right, the 8th grade prodigy from Biyun City back then. I heard he went straight into the Celestial Mechanism Pavilion. Later became the Deputy Pavilion Master of the Celestial Mechanism Pavilion. Our Zhang Heir is a 9th grade prodigy. The Celestial Mechanism Pavilion will come to recruit him soon. Your Su family, just wait for Zhang Heir to lead you to glory." Su Jingyan's heart was swaying. Lu Jing's 9th grade spiritual route changed not only his personal fate, but the entire Su family. Soon, under everyone's anticipation, Lu Jing finally opened the stone door. He walked out with a confident expression. He came before Su Zhengyan and knelt on one knee. "Thank you, uncle, for your years of nurturing. Zhang Heir has lived up to your expectations. A 9th grade spiritual root has been detected." For a moment, everyone present envied Su Zhengyan. What incredible luck to gain such a heaven-sent prodigy. Su Jingyan dared not accept the honor. He quickly helped him up. "This won't do, Zhang Heir. You are a 9th grade prodigy. How can I, your uncle, deserve your kneeling? Get up quickly." Lu Zheng felt an unprecedented sense of ease. In the past, he was always cautious in front of Su Zhengyan. The slightest mistake would earn him a scolding. Now, Su Zhengyan revered him like a god. The Tower Master and the City Lord of Guzhou, along with some old monsters from other families, all looked at him with eager eyes, begging to establish good relations with him. This made him, long at the bottom, feel as if he had leaped to the 9th heaven, looking down upon the world with invincibility. However, what he didn't know was, he was about to cause a great disaster. At this moment, Lu Zheng suddenly saw my figure. Everyone was bowing under the halo of his 9th grade spiritual root. Only I remained calm and composed, showing no sign of reverence. This made him very unhappy. Why should a useless mute not submit to me? He turned and bowed to Su Zhengyan. "Uncle Su, I have a request." Su Zhengyan hurriedly said, "Nephew, please speak. There's no need for such formalities. Yuran and I grew up together. I can't bear to see her married to a useless person. Please, Uncle Su, give Yuran to me in marriage. Only I can give her a happy future." Su Jingyan was somewhat troubled. He had already promised Yuran to Jiang Fan. Should he go back on his word and let Yuran remarry? Wouldn't that be breaking his promise? "Uncle, if I just said I wanted to marry, I believe many families here would be willing to form an alliance with me. Then I'll be someone else's son-in-law." Su Jingyan's expression changed drastically upon hearing this. Lu Zheng is the ladder to the Su family's rise to power. If lost, he, Su Jingyan, would be the eternal sinner of the Su family. Seeing Su Jingyan about to relent, I immediately wrote, "Uncle Su, providing Yuran happiness depends on capability, not words. I challenge Lu Zheng to a contest." Su Jingyan was secretly delighted. If Jiang Fan loses and withdraws, he wouldn't bear the bad reputation of breaking his word. Lu Zheng could still marry Su Yuran as he wished. A perfect solution. "Zheng, what do you think?" Lu Zheng laughed heartily. "Huh, a waste dares challenge a 9th grade spiritual root? Fine. Since we both grew up in the Su mansion, I'll give you a chance to compete with a 9th grade spiritual root. Even if you lose, you can boast about it for life." Su Jingyan sighed with relief. "You have 3 days. Whoever breaks through 1 cultivation level qualifies to marry Su Yuran." "Agreed." I wrote instantly deal. Lu Zheng smiled confidently. 1 level. "Uncle underestimates my 9th grade root. Wait and see in 3 days." Then, a middle-aged man in luxurious clothes stepped forward. "Young Master Lu, I am Qin Changsheng." The crowd was stirred by his name. Qin Changsheng was the head of Lonely Boat City's top alchemy family. Using their ancestral chi refining liquid formula, they monopolized the supply in all surrounding cities. Chi refining liquid was the only drug that could enhance chi refining realm cultivation. Thus, a saying went in Lonely Boat City, "Better offend the city lord 10 times than provoke the Qin family once." His appearance immediately drew everyone's attention. Lu Zheng asked, puzzled, "What brings you here, Master Qin?" Qin Changxing smiled, presenting an ornate box. Inside, 10 small jade vials were neatly arranged, glowing with spiritual light. It was the famed chi refining liquid. "The Qin family congratulates young Master Lu on his 9th grade spiritual root. We offer these 10 freshly brewed vials of chi refining liquid, hoping you win the beauty in 3 days." 10 vials. Many gazed greedily at the liquid. A single vial was priceless, unaffordable for ordinary families. 10 vials from the Qins was a huge investment. With 10 vials, even a pig drinking them would undergo a qualitative change, let alone Lu Zheng with a 9th grade root. They looked at me with pity. This kid's doomed to lose his wife. I narrowed my eyes slightly. Is the Qin family clearly backing Lu Zheng? He seemed to notice my gaze. Qin Changxing not only didn't hold back, but said dismissively, "Also from today, all Qin family shops are forbidden to sell chi refining liquid to Jiang Fan." It's not just backing. This is direct suppression. My eyes turned cold as I lifted my brush. "Hope you won't regret it." Qin Changxing mocked. "Regret? Regret giving up on a waste like you? To cling to young Master Lu's leg? Ha ha ha. I gave Qin Changsheng a meaningful look, then left silently. On the way back, a clan elder asked Qin Changsheng hesitantly, Patriarch, why were you so aggressive, suppressing a junior? As an alchemy family, the Qin family earns immense profits yearly. Many are envious. So the Qin family has always kept a low profile, offending no one. Qin Changsheng understood this deeply, always seeking harmony and avoiding conflicts. Yet now, oppressing Jiang Fan like this was hard for him to understand. Qin Changsheng said expressionlessly, Remember the mysterious soul master who appeared out of nowhere 10 years ago? The elder nodded. Of course. The mid-grade Qi refining liquid he refined almost destroyed our Qin family's century-old business. If he hadn't only made 10 bottles, exchanged them for money and some materials, and then stopped, his mid-grade Qi refining liquid could have taken over our entire low-grade market. The Qin family's Qi refining liquid is low-grade. Its effect is less than half of the mid-grade. If that person mass-produced and sold mid-grade, who will buy the low-grade? His appearance back then nearly caused the Qin family's decline. Qin Changsheng said meaningfully, Then, do you remember when Lu Zheng came to our solitary boat city? The elder thought carefully, then gasped. 10 years ago. Patriarch, you mean? Yes. 10 years ago was exactly when Lu Zheng arrived. That mysterious soul master appeared around the same time. This is no coincidence. I suspect he might be Lu Zheng's guardian. Now you understand why I acted this way. The elder suddenly understood. The patriarch wants to owe Lu Zheng a favor, and thus gain recognition from the soul master behind him. Qin Changsheng nodded slowly. If he can become our backer, our territory will extend far beyond just a few nearby cities. He raised his 5 fingers to the sky and clenched his fist tightly, saying with overwhelming pride, I've been cautious my entire life and never made a wrong choice. I'm confident this choice won't be wrong either. As for that Jiang Fan, he can only blame himself for being blind enough to block the Qin family's path to greatness. He's just a nobody anyway. Offending him is no big deal. He can't possibly stir up any real trouble. After I returned to the Su mansion, I immediately closed the door. And I couldn't wait to open the clear wind scripture and start reading. I don't know if it's because my body was blessed by the Taishu ancient tree. This obscure and hard-to-grasp yellow-grade high-level cultivation method feels surprisingly smooth and easy for me to understand. I quickly sat cross-legged to cultivate, chi flowing through my dantian as I focused deeply. No wind, no self, I silently recited the mantra. The transparent spiritual root inside my body is like huge roots deeply anchored in the void, slowly absorbing the spiritual energy from the air. The stronger the spiritual root, the faster the absorption speed. The more advanced the cultivation method, the faster the absorption speed as well. When combined, the two complement each other perfectly. Soon, wisp after wisp of invisible spiritual energy gathered from all directions and merged into my dantian. I cultivated tirelessly and wholeheartedly until the next day. When I slowly opened my eyes, I was shocked to discover I had actually broken through to the second level of Qi refining. I was overjoyed immediately. It took Sui Ning a full 3 days to break through to the first level of Qi refining, right? Yet I did it in just one night. But the second level of Qi refining is still not enough. To protect myself and to protect Su Yuran, I need to get even stronger. I tried to continue cultivating, but found that the speed of absorbing spiritual energy had slowed down a lot. Cultivation becomes slower the further you go in the Qi refining realm. I need Qi refining liquid to progress now, but it's very expensive. What's more, Qin Changsheng won't sell it to me. I frowned slightly, then suddenly remembered that before my father passed away, he told me to bury the box he'd carried with him for 10 years in front of his grave, and he warned me not to dig it up before the seed sprouted. What on earth could be inside it? Since father left me such a miraculous seed, that mysterious box must hold something extraordinary. I stood up and opened the door, only to hear Su Yuran's pleas coming from the next courtyard. Aunt Wang, this is the resource the clan allocated to me this month. Please don't take it from me. Wang Yingfeng stood in front of Su Yuran, watching as 2 maids held her hands down. Wang Yingfeng then pulled a bottle of Qi refining liquid from her bosom and said with a cold face, Don't think I don't know. You're planning to give this to that good-for-nothing Jiang Fan. You wanted to win? Hee hee, in your dreams. Slap. Wang Yingfeng slammed the Qi refining elixir to the ground. The precious elixir splattered all over the floor, mixing with the dirt. Su Yuran struggled free from the 2 maids. She threw herself down, scooping up the soil soaked with the spiritual liquid, desperately trying to salvage some of it. But the liquid and dirt were inseparable. It was useless now. Aunt Wang, usually so composed, had tears of anger in her eyes. Xiao Fan has suffered enough. Why must you bully him like this? Even a single bottle of Qi refining elixir is a struggle for him. Wang Yingfeng brushed her hands off dismissively. Who's bullying him? The elixir belongs to the Su family. If he has any pride, he should get himself. Relying on a woman to sneak it to him. What kind of man is that? Let's go. She sashayed away, thoroughly satisfied. Su Yuran crouched helplessly on the ground. She hugged her knees, weeping in self-reproach. Then, a hand gently patted her back. Startled, she turned her head. Seeing it was me only deepened her guilt. She collapsed into my arms, sobbing, "I'm sorry, Xiaofan. I'm useless. I should have been more careful. Then Aunt Wang wouldn't have found out." I gently patted her back and smiled. "Silly, I should be thanking you. How could I blame you?" Su Yuren's eyes were red, still filled with immense self-blame. "But that was the only qi refining elixir I could give you." Hearing this, I thought, what have I done to deserve a fiancé like this? I said to her gently, "Don't worry. I'll find a way to get the elixir myself. Go back and rest now. Just wait for my good news." Su Yuren was silent for a moment, then nodded. "All right, just do your best. Don't push yourself too hard. No matter the outcome, I won't blame you." With that, she left the Su Manor, heading for the cloud mist mountain in the suburbs, rich in spiritual herbs. She couldn't bear to see Jiang Fan isolated and helpless. She still wanted to do everything she could to help him. Though those herbs were far less effective than the qi refining elixir, they were better than nothing. Meanwhile, I also left the Su Manor. I arrived at the graveyard in the suburbs. "Father, your son has come to see you." Kneeling before the grave, I recalled the years spent with my father. He was a man of few words who loved to drink. Drunk, he would curse at the heavens, as if venting his grievances. Sober, he would gaze at the moon with tears streaming down his face. Yet whether drunk or sober, his gaze when he looked at me was always gentle. "Father, I'm getting married, but not to Su Yining. It's Su Yuran, the one you always liked more. You once said she was actually more suited to be my wife. Gentle, serene, and understanding of propriety." I laughed until tears streamed down my face. "If you were still alive, you'd be grinning ear to ear, wouldn't you? Once we're married, I'll bring her to meet you." I wiped my tears, apologizing softly. "But, Father, I've run into some trouble. I need to open the chest you left behind. Forgive me for disturbing your peace." After kowtowing, I raised the hoe and dug into the soil before the tombstone. I dug 3 feet deep, finally unearthing a black wooden chest. Huh, it hasn't rotted? This chest must be extraordinary. Sure enough, when I opened the chest, its contents left me utterly stunned. 2 jade vials lay quietly inside, filled with emerald green spiritual liquid. This was mid-grade qi refining liquid. I was overjoyed. Father truly left cultivation resources for me. I hurriedly picked up the qi refining liquid. Only then did I notice a letter and a bamboo scroll beneath. My heart skipped a beat seeing the letter. Trembling, I opened it. The sight that greeted my eyes was my father's handwriting. By the time you read this, I'll have been gone for 3 years. Has your seed sprouted? Have you married Su Yining? Are you healthy? What do you look like now? I long to know, but alas, I cannot see. I hope you open this chest following my instructions. For the seed must sprout first, for the chest contents to be of use to you. The 2 vials of mid-grade qi refining liquid are for your breakthrough. But the most important item is the bamboo scroll below. My talent was mediocre. I spent a lifetime grasping only the basics, barely becoming a 2-star soul master. I hope you, my son, can surpass your father and become a great soul master who stands tall. Then you'll have the means to protect yourself. Finally, this chest was left for you by your mother. She said once you become a 5-star soul master, you can open its secret compartment. Not opening it is my final regret. If you ever do, remember to burn paper and tell me what's inside. Go forth, my son. Your life will have many trials. Never give up, promise me. Tears fell drop by drop onto the letter. I could almost see father before me, bidding his final farewell. Tears in my eyes, I clenched my fist. I will strive to live, father. I will. After a long while, I dried my tears and carefully stored the letter. My heart surged. So, father was once a 2-star soul master. Soul masters are the most revered profession in this world, bar none. They possess soul power beyond ordinary people, unleashing various mysterious and profound soul techniques. They can also forge spirit elixirs for warriors. Unlike ordinary medicine, the pills needed for cultivation are refined from various aged heavenly treasures. Such treasures grow deep in ancient forests over time, absorbing both spiritual energy and inevitable impurities. To remove the impurities, one must use powerful soul force to strip them away. Thus, a soul master is both a master of unfathomable methods and an irreplaceable alchemist. The reason the Qin family of Lone Boat City became the top alchemy clan is because each generation's patriarch inherits the Qin family heirloom, a treasure that temporarily boosts one's soul power. The enhanced level is roughly that of a soul apprentice. Even so, it made the Qin family one of Lone Boat City's top noble houses. A single stomp from them makes the entire city tremble. My mouth dry, I opened the bamboo scroll. If I could learn even a little, becoming a 2-star soul master like my father, couldn't I command wind and rain? Inside the scroll were strange, twisted characters. At first glance, they couldn't even be considered words. And the longer I looked, the dizzier I felt. Tai Soul Art, first part, the Prudent Cultivation chapter. Author, 8-star soul master, the free and unfettered venerable. Only those with strong souls can decipher the text. Others who read it risk severe headaches or soul destruction. Cultivate with caution. Only then did I understand. The characters above aren't meant to be read with the eyes. One must use the soul to perceive them. This filled my heart with joy. I hurriedly continued reading until a headache began, and only stopped when I could no longer look at the remaining chapters. I quickly sat cross-legged before the grave, quietly digesting what I had just seen. Just like when cultivating the clear breeze, true scripture, I comprehended this content with great ease. In just a few hours, I had fully absorbed it. Looking at the 2 vials of mid-grade chi refining liquid, I drank one and tucked the other into my robe. As the astonishingly potent liquid entered my body, it released abundant spiritual energy. I immediately began cultivating to absorb this energy. Soon after, my body shuddered. To my sudden delight, I discovered I had broken through to chi refining level 3. If mid-grade chi refining liquid has such an effect, I wonder what high-grade or supreme grade would be like. I bowed to my father's tombstone, then rose and headed back to the city. But I didn't return to the Su family. Instead, I went to a struggling treasure pavilion. This was the shop of the Chun family, the second largest alchemy clan in Lone Boat City. The Chins weren't as fortunate as the Chins. They possessed no treasures to enhance soul power, so they could only produce very crude medicines. Their business was far worse than the Chin family's. I had changed into a thick black robe and wore a mask. I walked in the shop. The shopkeeper, who was minding the store, lazily said, "What does the customer wish to buy?" I shook my head. Then I took out a mid-grade chi refining liquid and placed it on the counter. "I want to trade." The shopkeeper frowned at the liquid. When he saw it clearly, he exclaimed, This is mid-grade chi refining liquid. 10 years. It's been 10 years since I've seen this." His voice trembled with excitement, and he looked at me with newfound respect. "Quick, what are you all standing around for? Serve tea for this esteemed guest. The best tea." Hearing this, I was startled. 10 years ago. Could it be the liquid my father made? No need for tea. I wish to trade for these materials. How much can your shop offer? I picked up a pen from the counter and wrote the list. Materials for chi refining liquid. The shopkeeper grew even more excited. His voice was filled with awe. His previously slouching posture instinctively bent lower in deference. "Sir, could you be a soul master? In all of Lone Boat City, no one but Qin Changsheng would want these materials. Unless he's a soul master planning to brew chi refining liquid." My tone turned cold. "Do you want to know?" The shopkeeper jumped in fright. He hurriedly said respectfully, "My apologies, my lord." I spoke out of turn. If this lord truly is a soul master, 10 of my lives wouldn't be enough to offend him. "Enough. How much can I get?" The shopkeeper quickly replied, "At market price, 1 vial of mid-grade chi refining liquid is 10,000 taels of silver. The materials cost 1,000 taels per set. You could trade for 10 sets." The shopkeeper's eyes shifted, and he rubbed his hands. "However, if my lord has more of this liquid to sell us, I can authorize an exchange for 11 sets. I thought for a moment. Agreed. The shopkeeper was overjoyed. He hurriedly brought 11 sets of materials. "To be honest, my lord, tomorrow is the Alchemy Clan's exhibition in Lone Boat City. If you have any extra chi refining liquid, could you sell it to us at the event?" The Archin family gained some face. Seeing his almost pleading expression, I gave a slight nod. "I'll try." Then I left the treasure pavilion, making sure no one followed. I found an alley, removed my disguise, and calmly walked back onto the street. I hadn't gone far when I heard a cold laugh. Well, look who it is." Lu Zhen rode up on horseback, beaming. Beside him was Qin Changsheng. Upon spotting me, they reined in their horses and stopped. Lu Zhen glanced at the treasure pavilion nearby and sneered. "Patriarch Qin, some people are daydreaming, trying to buy low-grade chi refining liquid." Qin Changsheng glanced at me and said indifferently, "In solitary Boat City, besides my Qin family, no other place has chi refining liquid. You're looking the wrong place, asking the treasure pavilion for it. Better beg young Master Lu than them." Lu Zhen mocked. "Beg me for chi refining liquid? Might as well beg me to go easy on his fiancée." Huh. With that, he spurred his horse and rode off. Qin Changsheng gave me a sidelong glance and said contemptuously, "Forget about the chi refining liquid. As long as I, Qin Changsheng, am around, you'll never get a single drop of chi refining liquid in your life." Then he chased after Lu Zhen's direction. I shrugged. Even dogs wouldn't want that low-grade stuff. But what I didn't know was, soon after I left, a young lady arrived at the treasure pavilion. The manager bowed, trembling with fear. "Miss, it's exactly as I reported earlier. Chen Xiling was the eldest daughter of the Chen family. She was tall with exquisite features. Her eyes sharp, she asked, 'Did you send anyone to investigate his identity?' The manager trembled. How dare I? Soul masters detest being coveted. Angering him could bring disaster to the Chun family." Hearing this, Chen Xiling finally relaxed. "Good. You handled it perfectly. You gave the soul master benefits to build rapport, without any hint of disrespect. Now, whether we can win over, this soul master depends on his mood. If he could provide us with some mid-grade chi refining liquid at the exhibition, we make a name for ourselves and challenge the Qin family. thinking of being suppressed by the Qin family for a century. Qin Sealing desperately hoped that the Soul Master would lend the Chun family a hand to change their family's fate. She was willing to pay any price. I just returned to the Su Manor when I found it in chaos. Find him now. Dig 3 feet in the ground. Find Su Yuran. What? Su Yuran is missing? My heart sank. I immediately remembered the morning when she suddenly left. A terrible thought struck me. That silly girl. She wouldn't have gone to find breakthrough material for herself, would she? It's almost dark, and they still haven't come back. Could she be in danger? I hurried out of the city, heading toward the only mountain nearby that grows celestial herbs and treasures, Cloud Mist Mountain. Miss Sue, stop struggling. It would be such a waste if you fall and get smashed to a pulp. At the edge of a cliff, 3 burly men with bats embroidered on their chests stare down at the cliff below with grins on their faces. Where Su Yuran is clutching tightly to a vine. Her palms are covered in streaks of blood from gripping the vine for so long. Exhausted from overexertion, her face is pale and her body trembles nonstop. Beneath her feet lies a bottomless abyss. Come on up. Every debt has its debtor. We just want to capture you. To collect the gambling debt Lu Zheng owes us. That's all. We swear we won't hurt you. Though that's what they say. Their greedy eyes never leave Su Yuran's beautiful body for even a moment. It's not hard to imagine what would happen if they caught her. Su Yuran grits her teeth over my dead body.
Pull her up. I don't believe she'd really let go and kill herself.
Xiao Fan, I'm sorry. I'll marry you in my next life.
Ewa. You dare kill a member of the Bloodback clan. You're dead.
Xiao Fan. I finally found you.
There could be countless spiritual herbs, but there's only one you. Don't ever take risks for me again. If something happened to you, what'd I do? A sweet feeling immediately welled up in Su Yuran's heart. Am I really this important to Jiang Fan? She quietly rests against my broad chest. Her highly strung nerves suddenly relax. Soon, overwhelmed by deep exhaustion, she falls asleep in my arms. I can't bear to wake her. I glance at the Bloodback clansmen's bodies on the ground. An idea hits me, and I search one of their bodies. I quickly find a token and can't help but say happily, a Bloodback clan token. The City Lord's mansion put out a bounty before. Every time you kill one of their members, you can cultivate in the City Lord's spiritual pool once. Lots of people broke through their cultivation there. I put the token away and look around. It's pitch black right now. I can't even see the path down the mountain clearly, so I can only find a safe cave and spend the night there with Su Yuran. While keeping watch over her, I don't idle around. I take out the materials for Qi refining liquid I traded for the treasure pavilion, and try to refine Qi refining liquid. The next morning at dawn, I look at the pile of ash on the ground and say ruefully, I wasted 3 sets of materials, but a hint of a strange look appears on my face. My soul has been baptized by the void ancient tree. How much has it improved? Making the lowest grade Qi condensation elixir is ridiculously easy. I look at the 8 vials of spiritual liquid beside me. 7 are superior grade Qi condensation elixir. 1 is supreme grade, and this is just my first try. Making supreme grade will be even easier once I get the hang of it. It feels unreal. Could my soul power have reached the foundation establishment realm already? Muttering to myself, I shake off the thought. I eagerly pick up the supreme grade Qi condensation elixir and drink it. The potent medicinal energy releases spiritual energy 10 times stronger than the inferior grade elixir. I quickly sit cross-legged to cultivate, rapidly absorbing the spiritual energy. An hour later, I smoothly reach the 4th layer of Qi condensation, and I'm not far from the 5th layer. I'm secretly amazed. Su Yining took a full 10 days to break through from the 3rd to the 4th layer of Qi condensation. Drinking inferior grade Qi condensation elixir every day, I succeeded with just 1 vial of supreme grade elixir. The effect of the supreme grade Qi condensation elixir is unbelievably strong. Feeling the power of the 4th layer, I can't help but look beside me. I smile at the stunningly beautiful face deep in sleep. You ran. This time, I can really protect you. Meanwhile, at the Su Manor, Lu Zheng is sweating profusely. His expression is grim. He stares blankly at the 10 empty vials of Qi condensation elixir in front of him. Why is this happening? I drank them all. Why haven't I broken through? Wang Yingfeng beside him is also puzzled. It doesn't make sense. With a 9th grade spiritual root and 10 vials of inferior grade elixir, even a pig should have broken through by now. But Lu Zheng remains stuck. She can only console him. Zheng'er, haste makes waste. Perhaps your eagerness to break through is affecting your state of mind. Besides, you haven't lost. That trash Jiang Fan has no spiritual root and no chi condensation elixir. It's even more impossible for him to break through. It's just a draw for now. Hearing this, Lu Zheng relaxes slightly and sneers. How can he compare to me? My lack of breakthrough is only temporary. He'll never break through in his lifetime. Let's go to the main hall and settle this. At this moment, I and Su Yuran return, stepping into the morning light. Xiao Fan. Su Yuran looks at the gate of the Su family, but hesitates to step inside. Because this is a contest she is destined to lose. The result would be her marrying Lu Zheng. Looking at Jiang Fan before her, her heart feels unbearably heavy. Biting her lip, she says, "It's okay if you lose. Don't blame yourself. I won't blame you." During these days together, she has already come to see Jiang Fan as her husband. If he truly loses, she will never marry Lu Zheng instead. At worst, we die again. Sensing her emotions, I took her hand and said calmly, "I promise to protect you, now and forever." With that, I led her through the Su family gate. 10 years as a dependent, now soaring to the heights. I crave facing the Su family's gaze more than ever. To prove I'm not worthless, I, Jiang Fan, am worthy of Su Yuran. Our return caused a stir throughout the clan. Su Jingyan hurried over with his people, blaming her outright. "Su Yuran, where the hell have you been? Trying to scare us to death?" Facing her father's anger, Su Yuran replied gloomily, "Father, are you worried about my safety? Or that we can't fulfill Lu Zheng's wish, depriving the family of a patron? If it's the former, you needn't worry. The Su family is the same with or without me. Having Yining is enough." Su Jingyan's anger fizzled out. Su Yining's presence always left Su Yuran neglected and bullied in secret by Wang Yingfeng. He grumbled, "Fine, just be glad you're back." Noticing I still held her hand, he frowned. "Jiang Fan, how's your cultivation lately?" I calmly wrote 2 characters. "Not bad." Su Jingyan was stunned. "Not bad? Could someone without a spiritual root really have made a breakthrough?" But Lu Zheng, with his 9th grade root, hadn't broken through in 3 days. So Jiang Fan was even less likely. "Follow me." Soon, the group arrived at the Su family hall. Dozens of Su clan members, young and old, were all present. Some young Su girls, dressed to impress, smiled and chatted around Lu Zheng, hoping to gain his favor. Su Yining also wore a smile, exchanging a few words with Lu Zheng now and then. When she saw me enter, her smile vanished. "Thought you wouldn't dare show up." The clan members all looked over, unconsciously comparing Lu Zheng and me. Can't fathom where he gets the nerve to challenge Lu Zheng. Ate the Su family's food for 10 years. Still doesn't know his place. Dares to compete with Brother Lu. If I were him, I wouldn't wait for Brother Lu to ask. I'd hand over Su Yuran myself. At least save some face. I remained expressionless. 10 years of snide remarks had numbed me. Without a word, I stepped forward, raised my brush, and wrote, "When do we begin?" His confident aura made everyone's expression shift slightly. Su Yining's eyes showed surprise. She couldn't help but look me up and down. Today, Jiang Fan gave her an indescribable feeling. It seemed like a confidence born from his very bones. Could he be confident of winning today's contest? But how? The female clan members supporting Lu Zheng rolled their eyes. Look at his posture. Anyone would think he's the one with the 9th grade spirit root. A last shred of pride, perhaps. After all, he's about to lose his wife. I can't wait to see him break down and cry. Ha ha ha. Wang Yingfeng spoke up then. "Jiang Fan, you remember the wager, right? If you're inferior to Lu Zheng, then, unfortunately, Su Yuran will marry Lu Zheng." I looked at her coolly and wrote, "If Lu Zheng loses, please also keep your nephew in check. You should stop dreaming of the impossible." Wang Yingfeng snorted. "If Zheng'er loses, he naturally won't have the face to ask for Su Yuran's hand. If you lose, get out of the Su manor for good. Our Su family owes you nothing more." I waved my brush lightly. "Very well, let's settle this." Wang Yingfeng was seething inside. "Zheng'er, make your move." Lu Zheng walked confidently to the center of the hall. His face was practically etched with disdain. "To compete with a 9th grade spirit root, your Jiang ancestors would be honored to know." He smirked, raising his fists and throwing a powerful punch into the air. Bang! A sound like firecrackers exploding. The air trembled violently from his chi refining level 5 peak cultivation. Seeing this, Su Yining was stunned. No breakthrough? That shouldn't be. With 10 chi refining elixirs, even someone with a 6th grade root, like her, should have broken through. The clansmen also exchanged glances. The result was truly unexpected. The 9th grade spirit root didn't seem as formidable as imagined. An awkward silence fell over the scene. Wang Yingfeng immediately smoothed things over. The path of cultivation is fraught with difficulty at every step. Advancing from Qi refining level 5 to its peak in just 3 days is already quite good. Though many found it odd. They didn't dwell on it. The female clansmen who favored Lu Zheng began to lavish praise. The matriarch is right. Anyone else would likely have stagnated. Indeed. Still, you can't compare to a waste without a spiritual root. Reaching perfection is already impressive. Hearing this, Lu Zheng puffed out his chest and smiled proudly. So, Jiang Fan, even though I didn't break through, at least I improved. You still lost. He couldn't help but gaze passionately at Su Yuran. Unbroadcastable scenes already flashed in his mind. I smiled, lifting my brush. Ninth grade spiritual root. Qin Changxing gave his full support. Is that all? This made Wang Yingfeng inexplicably anxious. He slapped the table impatiently. A true dragon in the sky. How dare mere earth-crawling insect mock it? A true dragon. I smiled faintly, raised my fist, and threw a powerful punch into the air. A wisp of pure spiritual energy erupted. It shook everyone's eyes. Qi refining. First layer. Little fan. You broke through? Su Yuran covered her mouth, unable to believe it, whispering in surprise. Su Yining's pupils trembled. She murmured in disbelief. He actually has a spiritual root? The female clan members who supported Lu Zheng were also dumbfounded. Lu Zheng's eyes widened even more. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The waste he had always looked down upon had actually broken through and beaten him. He couldn't accept it. Feeling humiliated, Wang Yingfeng said coldly, "Qi refining, first layer, that's all. Look at your smug face. Is breaking through to the first layer comparable to the sixth? The latter is 5 times harder than the former." The women supporting Lu Zheng all sneered. Exactly. Even a dog can break through if it has a spiritual root. In the same 3 days. Reaching Qi refining. 5th layer perfection is much harder than the first. I don't know where he gets his pride. Ignoring them, I raised my hand and threw another punch, the air cracking with a bang. Su Yuran was so shocked her mouth hung open. Qi refining, 2nd layer. Little fan, you actually broke through to the 2nd layer in 3 days? Now even Su Yining couldn't stay seated. Her pretty face showed astonishment. Even I couldn't break through to the 2nd layer in 3 days. The female clan members supporting Lu Zheng felt as if they'd been slapped hard. They stammered, unable to speak. Lu Zheng's eyes were full of anger. Breaking through 1 layer had already beaten him. Breaking through to the 2nd layer was simply crushing him. Wang Yingfeng was also greatly surprised, but still forced an excuse. The 2nd layer isn't that hard either. It just barely catches up to Lu Zheng's progress. But right after I said that, I threw another punch into the air. The crisp crack echoed. It felt like a slap across everyone's face. Whoosh. Su Yining jolted up in shock. She didn't even notice she'd knocked her stool over. Her face showed pure disbelief. Qi refinement level 3? Impossible. Breaking through to level 3 in 3 days. Even a 9th grade spiritual root couldn't do that. Zhang Fan, what's going on with you? The women who wanted to defend Lu Zheng couldn't find their words. They practiced for years and barely reached level 3. But I did it in just 3 days. Lu Zheng and Wang Yingfeng looked stunned too. Level 3 in 3 days. This wasn't just beating Lu Zheng. It was rubbing his face in the dirt. The whole place fell silent. I pulled Su Yuran close and declared with a flourish. Yuran is my wife, Jiang Fan's wife. No one can take her away. My firm words rang in their ears. Lu Zheng, utterly humiliated, roared. Jiang, don't get cocky. I'll have you know, the Celestial Mechanism Pavilion's envoys are already on their way. Soon, I'll be joining them. And you? A measly level 3 bug. You're not even in my league. He stormed off with a flick of his sleeve. I just shrugged. I'd always doubted Lu Zheng's 9th grade spiritual root. With my transparent root, I reached level 4 in 3 days. A 9th grade shouldn't struggle to break through a single level. The pavilion's people will surely check his root when they arrive. We'll know the truth then. Wang Yingfeng's pride was shattered today. Her precious nephew, outdone by a supposed waste. She glared at me furiously. Fine. So you have a spiritual root now, huh? Think you're special. I was going to be generous, given your pitiful state, and not ask for a betrothal gift for Yuran. But since you're so capable, you have 10 days to prepare a lavish gift. If you can't deliver, don't blame me for marrying Yuran off to someone else. She left in fury. So Yuran's brief joy vanished. Worry creased her brow again. Xiao Fan, I'm afraid my little savings won't be nearly enough. If Aunt Wang is determined to make things hard, any amount will be wrong. In the past, I'd have worried too. But not now, because I become a soul master. A soul master who could refine priceless pills. Then I remembered. Yesterday, I promised the Treasure Pavilion's owner I'd attend the Lone Boat City exhibition. Just finished refining a batch of high-grade Qi refining liquid. Should fetch a good price. I wrote a note reminding her. Yuran, I'm off to cultivate. Don't go wandering out again, okay? So Yuran nodded obediently. Go ahead. I won't cause you any more trouble. She watched my hurried departure, her eyes full of admiration. With a husband so diligent and driven, how could their future be anything but bright? At the City Lord's Manor, today is the exhibition for all the city's alchemy families. Alchemists big and small will gather here to showcase their finest elixirs. Many local warriors and out-of-town merchants will linger at the exhibition, comparing and choosing the best medicines for personal use or resale elsewhere. For the smaller alchemy families, this is a prime opportunity to showcase themselves. For top families like the Qins, it's also a challenge. See, Qin Changsheng stands on the Qin family's spacious platform, displaying their best-selling low-grade Qi refining liquid. The crowd around him is huge. In stark contrast, the equally large Chun family platform opposite is deserted and cold. The stark difference unsettles Chun Siling. She can't help but murmur, will that senior really come? The shopkeeper beside her smiles wryly. Soul masters are often solitary and unpredictable. This coming depends on his mood. He's actually quite anxious too, if that soul master comes. The Chen family, with their mid-grade Qi refining liquid, will shine. But if he doesn't, this exhibition becomes the Qin family's solo show. The Chen family will have a tough year ahead. What worries them more is, the Qin family's treasure seems to have unlocked greater power. Rumor has it Qin Changsheng has successfully refined a vial of mid-grade Qi refining liquid. Although the success rate is only 1%, it would cause a huge stir if word got out. The Chen family's only hope is to latch onto that soul master. Just then, I arrived between the two platforms. Glancing at Qin Changsheng vividly explaining the low-grade liquid, Qin Changsheng spots me. He smirks and taunts. Everyone knows the young man below, right? Jiang Fan, the Su family's future son-in-law. He foolishly challenged young Master Lu Zhang. I banned him from buying low-grade Qi refining liquid, desperate to get a single vial. He ran to the Chun family's treasure pavilion in vain. By now, he should have lost the bet. Kicked out of the Su family, huh? One bottle of Qi condensation elixir cost him his wife. You all wouldn't want to end up like that, would you? So if you can buy it now. Once you lose the chance, you won't get it. This living ad instantly drew the watching warriors in a rush. Hundreds of bottles were sold in no time. Qin Changsheng was grinning from ear to ear. He looked at me mockingly, young Master Jiang. You make a great cautionary tale. Why not join my Qin family? To stand at the shop door every day, telling the story of how you lost your wife over the elixir. To boost our sales. I wasn't angry. I just turned and walked into an alley. Soon, a figure in a heavy cloak and mask emerged. A mysterious person approached the Chun family's booth. Chun Siling was pacing back and forth. Spotting a dark figure, she frowned slightly. Recognizing the visitor, she was overjoyed and bowed hastily. Siling pays her respects. Senior. The manager quickly introduced Senior. This is our Chun family's young lady, acting on her father's behalf. I replied in a muffled, unclear voice. I'm not interested in your family's affairs. How much of the elixir can you take? Hearing this, Chun Siling was delighted. It seemed this soul master really intended to work with the Chun family. Our Chun family has prepared 100,000 taels of silver. Enough for 10 bottles of mid-grade elixir at market price. I frowned. I don't have mid-grade, only top grade. Receiving no immediate response, Chun Siling mistakenly thought her offer was too low, displeasing him. Senior, you may not know, but we're offering 10,000 taels per bottle. The price is absolutely fair. The Qin family across the way has already produced mid-grade elixir. With competition between our families, the selling price will surely drop below 10,000. We're taking a loss to build reputation. I said flatly, I'm not selling mid-grade. Chun Siling was puzzled. She glanced at the manager, as if to say, didn't you explain clearly to this soul master? If not mid-grade, then low-grade? Low-grade won't make our Chun family's name. The manager was sweating, unsure how to explain. Then I quietly took out a bottle and said, this is what I'm selling. Seeing the elixir in my hand, Chun Siling and the manager were shocked. It was top-grade Qi condensation elixir. To refine high-grade Qi refining liquid, at least a second-rank soul master is required. And the entire Qingyun sect only has one second-rank soul master. What kind of big shot have I encountered? The shopkeeper exclaimed directly, Senior, you want to sell us this? I retorted, what? You don't accept it? The shopkeeper hurriedly said, no. We accept. This is high-grade Qi refining liquid. Forget Lone Boat City. Even the surrounding cities have never seen such a top-tier elixir. With it, the Chen family can make a huge splash, seizing the Qin family's market share. From then on, leaping to become Lone Boat City's top alchemy family. As for the Qin family's mid-grade Qi refining liquid, it's simply no match for the high-grade one. However, the shopkeeper grew concerned again. Senior, how much do you want to sell it for? Every bottle of high-grade Qi refining liquid is worth a fortune. I've heard it appeared somewhere far away, valued at 50,000 taels of silver per bottle. If this soul master asks for an exorbitant price, our Chen family might not be able to buy in bulk. I said calmly, 10,000 taels. A trace of suspicion arose in Chun Siling's eyes. Senior, mid-grade Qi refining liquid costs 10,000 taels of silver. She couldn't help but wonder if the senior had another purpose. I have only one requirement. Make the Qin family collapse. Can you manage that? Chun Siling suddenly understood. No wonder he's selling to us so cheaply. So this senior has a grudge against the Qin family. But did the Qin family take the wrong medicine? To actually provoke a second-rank soul master, she immediately decided, if Senior can supply high-grade Qi refining liquid at this price long-term, crushing the Qin family won't be difficult at all. I glanced at Qin Changsheng, beaming with joy across from me. Good. Provide me with the materials for Qi refining liquid. I'll start refining large quantities of high-grade Qi refining liquid for you right now. Chun Siling immediately ordered people to prepare the materials in alchemy space. By noon, the exhibition reached its peak attendance. Qin Changsheng suddenly laughed heartily. Everyone, I have a huge piece of great news to announce. Our Qin family has successfully developed mid-grade qi refining liquid, priced at 13,000 taels of silver. His words caused an uproar in the hall. Even though it's above market price, mid-grade qi refining liquid is something priceless and hard to find. Being able to buy it is already good luck. Paying a bit more is completely acceptable. Watching the surging crowd, Qin Changsheng laughed heartily. Ever since allying with Lu Zhong, the Qin family's luck has been soaring. Everyone, my Qin family also has joyful news to announce. Chen Xiling was seen holding a tray with a light smile, her face beaming. It was covered with a red cloth. Qin Changsheng frowned immediately at the sight. Is this girl just putting on a show? But to go against my Qin family, you need real skills. At this moment, Chen Xiling got straight to the point. Starting today, our Chen family will offer a limited supply of high-grade qi training liquid. Then, she lifted the red cloth from the tray. A bottle of high-grade qi training liquid appeared. The venue erupted with deafening noise. High-grade qi training liquid. It's real high-grade. One bottle is as effective as 5 low-grade ones. This is a top-tier elixir only core disciples of the Azure Cloud sect can enjoy. We actually have it for sale in Lone Boat City. The Chen family is defying the heavens. Qin Changsheng's pupils contracted violently. Where did the Chen family get the high-grade qi training liquid? This is even more devastating than the mid-grade qi training liquid that appeared a decade ago. He started to panic. Watching all the customers from his booth rush to the other side, he hurriedly shouted, "Don't get too excited, everyone. High-grade qi training liquid costs at least 50,000 taels of silver. Are you sure you can afford it?" This made many impulsive martial artists pause. They looked embarrassed. Indeed, how precious is high-grade qi training liquid? It's simply not something ordinary people can afford. Better to honestly buy low-grade or mid-grade qi training liquid. However, Chen Xiling curled the corner of her mouth. To thank new and old customers for their years of support for the Chen family, we announced that for a limited period of 1 month, the price of high-grade qi training liquid is 12,000 taels of silver. She had calculated carefully. 12,000 taels. 10,000 of that is paid to the senior. 1,000 is the material cost. The Chen family only makes a meager profit of 1,000 taels. The profit is small, but it's enough to crush the Qin family. What? High-grade qi training liquid is only 12,000? This price is even lower than the Qin family's 13,000 for mid-grade. Only a fool would buy from the Qin family now. I'll buy it. I want some too. Master Qin, we don't want the low-grade qi training liquid we just bought from you. Please refund our money.
Refund!
The crowd instantly exploded. One wave rushed to the Chen family's booth, throwing down 10,000 tael banknotes. Another wave rushed to the Qin family's booth, demanding massive returns. The chaotic scene lasted until dusk. Qin Changsheng stared at the low-grade qi training liquid returned to his booth, his eyes bloodshot. Why is this happening? Why? He couldn't understand where the Chen family's high-grade qi training liquid came from, and why it was so cheap, as if deliberately targeting the Qin family. Gritting his teeth, he growled, "Chen Xiling, no matter who is backing you, you're still too green to bring down our Qin family. I've helped Lu Zhong so much. You should also call upon his guardian to help our Qin family." Inside a temporary tent set up behind the Chen family stage, I took a sip of tea to moisten my throat. By the end of the day, I had produced 50 bottles of high-grade qi refining liquid, 10 bottles of supreme-grade qi refining liquid. I'll keep those for myself. The high-grade qi refining liquid was sold to the Chen family for 500,000 taels of silver. At that moment, Chen Xiling gracefully approached, holding the banknotes. Carrying a faint, subtle fragrance, she said, "Senior, here are your 500,000 taels in banknotes." I accepted them expressionlessly. "Tomorrow, I will refine another batch of high-grade qi refining liquid. Just prepare the silver and materials for exchange." After speaking, I stood up to leave. "Senior, wait." Chen Xiling's eyes gleamed with intelligence. High-grade qi refining liquid is enough to cripple half of the Qin family's power, but they still have low-grade qi refining liquid, allowing them to barely survive. After a moment of thought, I understood. Only a minority of martial artists can afford high-grade qi refining liquid. Most martial artists prefer to purchase low-grade qi refining liquid. The Qin family spared no effort in suppressing us to support Lu Zhong. I must settle this score. Chen Xiling tentatively asked, "Senior, could you refine some low-grade qi refining liquid?" I stared ahead, lost in thought. It's not that low-grade qi refining liquid can't be refined, but the demand for it is huge. Even if I refined it day and night, it might not meet the market's needs. My main focus should be on cultivation. Wasting so much time just to deal with the Qin family isn't worth it. Could we train a few soul master apprentices? Chen Xiling's expression turned slightly awkward, because the direction I was staring at was precisely the gentle curve of her chest. Chen Xiling discreetly covered her chest and asked, "Senior, what do you think?" I snapped back to reality. My apologies. I was considering whether to train a few soul master apprentices. specifically to refine low-grade qi refining liquid. But this matter can't be rushed. Selecting suitable candidates is a major hassle. We'll discuss it in detail when there's time. I glanced at the sky and stood up to take my leave. However, Chun Siling's heart began to race. Training soul master apprentices. After all, Qin Changsheng, even with the help of a family heirloom, only reached the level of a soul master apprentice. If the Chun family had soul master apprentices, the family would truly ascend to a higher level. But why did he leave so abruptly? Recalling how he had been staring at her chest, lost in thought, Chun Siling suddenly realized something. She gently bit her luscious red lips and sighed softly. He was hinting at me, wasn't he? They're all the same, after all. After a long silence, she instructed a servant, bring out the discernment crystal. When he comes to the estate tomorrow, I want to see his true face. The discernment crystal was the Chun family's heirloom, capable of seeing through disguises. Before deciding whether to sacrifice herself, she should at least see the soul master's true face. But soul masters are usually old and decrepit. The thought depressed her. She wanted someone to talk to. I heard Yuran is engaged. I've been busy with the exhibition and haven't congratulated her. Shopkeeper, go to the Su Manor tomorrow and invite her to my home. The shopkeeper nodded slightly. Chun Siling pondered for a moment and added, and tell her to bring her fiancé too. She's so beautiful. She has countless suitors. Her fiancé must be an outstanding young master from a great clan, right? Chun Siling and Su Yuran were once classmates and close friends. Although their statuses were vastly different, they got along very well. Hearing this, the shopkeeper smiled bitterly. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed, miss. Her fiancé is Jiang Fan. Chun Siling was stunned. That Jiang Fan who's been living with the Su family? Isn't he a mute with no spiritual root? Are you sure it's him? The shopkeeper said regretfully, it's absolutely true. It's already spread all over Lone Boat City. Chun Siling was shocked. Su Yuran is crazy to marry him. Isn't that a flower stuck in cow dung? No way. I must persuade her to call off this marriage. And talk some sense into Jiang Fan too. He has hands and feet. Why live off a woman? After leaving the exhibition, I didn't return to the Su Manor. Instead, I went to the City Lord's mansion. I took out the token found on the Bloodbat Palace member. Seeing it, the guard captain was filled with respect. To defeat a Bloodbat Palace member at such a young age, truly a hero among youths. The Bloodbat Palace is an evil organization within the Azure Cloud sect's territory. They commit all sorts of atrocities and have many branches. The Azure Cloud sect's repeated purges have failed to root them out. So, the sect ordered city lords to issue bounties for their elimination. But ordinary warriors dare not provoke the Bloodbat Palace. If you can complete the task, you are qualified to cultivate in the Misty Spirit Pool once. Follow me. Under his lead, I arrived at a corner of the mansion. There stood two side-by-side chambers. Inside was the Misty Spirit Pool, steaming with dense spiritual energy. When I arrived, a woman in purple was already there. Hearing footsteps, she turned to look. A face of breathtaking, flawless beauty that could make time itself stand still. A cold and distant aura, like a fairy who walked out of a painting. She glanced at me indifferently and said, the 4th level of Qi refining is complete. You're late. With that, she chose a chamber and entered to cultivate. I was stunned. Late? What does that mean? The guard captain sighed and explained. So you've reached the 4th level of Qi refining. Then you are indeed late. The Misty Spirit Pool has been open for over 3 years. Many martial artists have used it. The spiritual energy in the pool is not what it used to be. Only those at the 1st or 2nd level of Qi refining have a chance to break through now. After all, martial artists at the 1st or 2nd level of Qi refining require far less spiritual energy to break through than higher level ones. Now, for those above the 4th level of Qi refining to break through, unless they have an exceptionally superior spiritual root or a high-level cultivation method. The guard captain looked at my attire. You don't look like you're from a great clan, and likely don't possess a top-tier cultivation method. He sighed silently. Since you're here, go in and give it a try. You can only cultivate for 1 hour. Make the most of it. I nodded slightly, entered another chamber, while the guard captain waited outside. Soon after, a middle-aged man with an imposing aura hurried over. It was Yi Jifeng, the city lord and strongest expert of Lone Boat City. Has Fairy Lu entered? The guard captain asked respectfully. Yes, city lord. She is already cultivating inside. Yi Jifeng breathed a slight sigh of relief. We must not neglect the daughter of the Qingyun sect master. Wait here respectfully for Fairy Lu to finish her seclusion. Notify me immediately when she emerges. At that moment, Yi Jifeng noticed someone in the other chamber and frowned. Who is in there? The guard captain replied. An unnamed youth who killed someone from the Bloodbat Palace. Hearing this, Yi Jifeng couldn't help but chide. Couldn't you have waited until Fairy Lu finished cultivating before letting him in? The guard captain hesitated. Should I ask him to come out? Looking at the two adjacent chambers, Yi Jifeng pondered and said, forget it. Just an unnamed youth. His low cultivation won't affect Fairy Lu's practice. You stay here. With that, he turned to arrange the welcoming ceremony. I had already entered a state of selfless cultivation. My transparent spiritual root was like the roots of a giant tree, greedily absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy. Simultaneously, the yellow-grade high-level cultivation method, Breeze True Scripture, began to circulate, accelerating the root's absorption. Both worked together, causing the spiritual energy in the area to seem summoned, converging towards me in waves. In the adjacent chamber, the woman in purple, deep in meditation, suddenly jolted awake. Sensing the flow of spiritual energy, a trace of confusion crossed her aloof face. What's happening? I am cultivating my sex supreme treasure, the cultivation method, and my spiritual root is of the 7th grade. The spiritual energy should be flowing to me. She restarted her cultivation technique, trying to reclaim the spiritual energy. However, the spiritual energy in her chamber not only failed to stay, but began to drain away even faster. A flicker of alarm crossed her face. Could his spiritual root be far superior to mine? She gave up on cultivation altogether. After all, the spiritual energy here was of little use for her level. She left her chamber and approached mine. Peering through the door crack, she sensed the situation inside. In her perception, astonishing waves of spiritual energy were being devoured. It was as if a black hole was inside, greedily sucking it all in. She was utterly shocked. Could he be the 9th grade spiritual root detected in Lonely Boat City? Her gaze fixed tightly on the stone door. A look of competitive spirit flashed in her eyes. She had snuck out against her father's wishes for one reason. As the favored daughter of heaven, she had to see with her own eyes this world-shaking 9th grade spiritual root, to witness his excellence firsthand. Just then, a dull thud echoed from the chamber. The aura of the 5th level of chi refining slowly emanated out. The guard captain's pupils contracted. He actually broke through, he muttered. The spiritual energy here is thin, barely enough for low-level warriors to advance. Yet he succeeded. A trace of astonishment appeared on the purple-clad girl's icy face. Her fists clenched involuntarily, truly worthy of a 9th grade spiritual root. An ordinary cultivator at the peak of the 4th level could never have broken through in such sparse energy. But this 9th grade root doesn't seem that much stronger than me. However, after the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, another soft explosion sounded from the chamber. The powerful aura of the 6th level of chi refining surged forth, stirring up dust from the ground. The purple-clad girl was stunned once more. Breaking through from the 5th to the 6th level in mere minutes? She knew she couldn't achieve that even with her utmost effort. A hint of bitterness touched the corner of her mouth. Is this the gap between a 9th grade and a 7th grade spiritual root? The guard captain also drew a sharp breath. He's broken through 2 levels in a row. The might of a 9th grade root is beyond our mortal comprehension. The purple-clad girl still clung to her last shred of pride. But this is his limit. The leap from the 6th to the 7th level is a chasm. It took me a full 10 days to cross it back then. The guard captain felt awkward. 10 days. That was what the purple-clad girl enjoying. The absolute top-tier resources of the entire Azure Cloud sect. An ordinary person would need years, or even half a lifetime, to bridge that gap. As time passed, the secret chamber fell silent. It seemed to confirm the purple-clad woman's words. Just as time was about to run out, the guard captain stepped forward to knock, ready to remind me. But suddenly, an even more powerful surge of energy swept out from the chamber. The guard captain nearly lost his balance, exclaiming in shock, "Chi refining, 7th layer." In just 1 hour, he broke through from the peak of the 4th layer to the 7th layer. The purple-clad girl could no longer stay calm. She muttered in disbelief, "Impossible. 9th grade and 7th grade are only 2 grades apart. How can the gap be this huge?" The purple-clad girl, struck by this ruthless blow, nearly had her Tao heart shatter. She never dreamed that the 7th grade spiritual root she was so proud of would be worlds apart compared to a 9th grade spiritual root. I left the chamber drenched in sweat. Seeing the purple-clad girl outside, too, I realized my cultivation had disturbed her. I quickly clasped my fists and said, "My apologies, miss." "I disturb you? No, I mean I struck you." The purple-clad girl looked at me with a complex gaze, gritting her silver teeth, saying, "My name is Lu Qingxian. Remember it. When you catch up to my level, I will have a duel with you." With that, she took out a purple token and tossed it to me. "Take it. Use it if your life is in danger. Don't you dare die on me." "Oomph." She then turned and left with a flick of her sleeve, leaving me utterly bewildered. What did I do to her? Why does she suddenly want to duel me? And she threw me a token. I scratched my head, confused, and left. Lu Qingxian left Lone Boat City, riding a white crane. Shortly after taking off, a dark cloud suddenly loomed overhead. Looking up, she saw an enormous blue eagle. On its back stood a stern, imposing middle-aged man in white robes, hands clasped behind his back. The powerful aura emanating from him scattered all the fierce winds blowing around. Seeing him, Lu Qingxian was greatly startled. She quickly knelt and said, "Disciple Lu Qingxian of the Qingyun sect pays her respects to Vice Pavilion Master Chun of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion." The person before her was actually one of the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters. of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, Chun Dao. Without a doubt, he was the one from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion here to take Lu Zheng away. Your father is looking everywhere for you, so you ran off here. Chun Dao chuckled. He and the Qingyan sect leader were once fellow disciples, with an excellent relationship. On his journey, he had received word that the sect leader's daughter had run away, asking him to keep an eye out. Glancing at Lone Boat City below, he understood Lu Qingxian's purpose for being here. He couldn't help but ask curiously, "So you've met the 9th-grade spiritual root? How is it?" This question made Lu Qingxian's eyes redden slightly as she replied, aggrieved. "He's way too overbearing." Chun Dao was stunned. In his memory, Lu Qingxian was a girl who bowed to no one, extremely strong-willed. How could she be crying in grievance? What kind of blow did she suffer? How did he bully you? Tell me. Lu Qingxian recounted her experience. After hearing it, Chun Dao couldn't laugh either. "That's impossible. Are you sure you didn't misperceive it? In an ordinary spirit pool for an hour. From Qi refinement level 4 to level 7, I have an 8th grade spiritual root, just a hair's breadth from 9th grade. But my cultivation speed isn't even half of what you described." Seeing Chun Dao's equally astonished expression, Lu Qingxian felt much better inside. "So the 8th grade spiritual root got hit hard too, huh?" "Ha," she said cheerfully. "Deputy Pavilion Master Chun, why not go verify it yourself? Anyway, I gave him the Qingyan token. It's easy to recognize. Farewell." With that, she cupped her hands in salute. Humming a cheerful tune, she rode her crane and left, leaving Chun Dao standing there, dumbfounded. Is the gap between 9th and 8th grade really that huge? At that moment, I had just returned to the Su Manor. I found the servants arranging various flower baskets, wiping down tables and chairs. Even the family head, Su Jingyan, was personally pitching in. Su Yuran was also hurriedly helping out. Seeing me return, Su Jingyan showed a hint of disdain. "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and help." Su Yuran handed over a rag, saying, "Just now, the city lord sent someone to inform us. The esteemed person from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion is arriving soon." "Huh? The people from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion are finally here? Jiang Fan, what are you spacing out for? Get to work. If you ruin my grand occasion, even 10 of your heads wouldn't be enough to make up for it." At that moment, a smug Lu Zheng, wearing a brand new silk martial robe, hands behind his back, barked authoritatively. I casually tossed the rag I'd taken on the ground, picked up a brush, and wrote, "What does your business have to do with me? The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion people are here for Lu Zheng. Why should I help clean up?" Lu Zheng gave a fake smile. "What a fool. Today is the day I soar to the heavens. So many people outside are trying to figure out how to get on my good side. I don't even have time for them. And here you are, with a chance to wipe my chair or mop the floor, yet you don't cherish it." Wang Yingfeng, accompanying him, chimed in. Zheng Yi sneered with smug satisfaction. "Why bother with this mute? Some people are destined to be lowly forever. It's fate. Some just can't be lifted up, no matter what." The aunt and nephew were singing in harmony. Coincidentally, Qin Chongsheng arrived upon hearing the news. He cupped his hands and smiled. "Young Master Lu, congratulations. A small token of my esteem. I hope you'll look after our Qin family in the future." Behind Qin Chongsheng, several strong men carried several crates of low-grade Qi training liquid. The Su family gasped in shock. So much Qi training liquid. It must be worth at least 300,000 taels of silver. Su Jingyan and Wang Yingfeng watched in fear and trepidation. For a moment, they dared not accept it. Gifts must be reciprocated. Their Su family couldn't repay such a heavy gift. But Lu Zheng just laughed heartily. He accepted it without refusal. "Patriarch Qin, your timing is perfect. Come. One bottle for everyone working here. Of course, let's not give any to that self-important one." So, from family members down to the servants, everyone received a bottle of low-grade Qi training liquid they usually couldn't afford. Only I was left empty-handed. Lu Zheng said smugly. "Jiang Fan, starting to regret it now. You just missed out on a bottle of low-grade Qi training liquid. TSK. That's a huge loss." I smiled slightly and picked up my brush to write. If I were you, I wouldn't accept this gift before entering the Tianji Pavilion. What if Lu Zheng fails to get in? How will he repay it then? Lu Zheng scoffed. "Look at him. He dreams of becoming me." Ha. Naturally, Qin Chongsheng stood up for Lu Zheng. "Jiang Fan, I'm willing to give, and young Master Lu is willing to accept. What business is it of yours to meddle?" I looked at Qin Chongsheng, smiled playfully, and wrote with my brush. "I'm just worried that Patriarch Qin will end up losing everything, and regret it bitterly when the time comes." Qin Chongsheng laughed heartily. "Me regret? I've latched onto the thigh of a 9th grade spiritual root. I really can't think of a reason to regret." At that moment, a fierce gale swept in. A giant blue eagle slowly descended over the Su family compound. A figure radiating immense aura leaped down. As Chun Dao landed, Su Jingyan led the entire Su family out to greet him. They knelt on one knee. "We humbly welcome the esteemed envoy of the Tianji Pavilion." Chun Dao nodded slightly with a smile. "I am Chun Dao, Deputy Pavilion Master of the Tianji Pavilion." Deputy Pavilion Master. Everyone present was shocked. They thought it would just be a steward or similar official. Who knew a Deputy Pavilion Master himself would come? Everyone was both terrified and awestruck. It seems the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion values a 9th grade spirit root far more than we imagined. Who among you has the 9th grade spirit root? Shunjing Dao asked eagerly. All eyes turned to Lu Zhang. A mix of envy, jealousy, and delight converged upon him. Filled with immense pride, Lu Zhang cupped his hands and said, "This junior, Lu Zhang, pays his respects to Vice Pavilion Master Chen." Upon hearing this, Shunjing Dao quickly stepped forward. He personally helped Lu Zhang up, nodding repeatedly in praise. Excellent, excellent. A fine figure of a man. Lu Zhang was overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. He never dreamed Vice Pavilion Master Chen would be so amiable. Shunjing Dao smiled and grasped Lu Zhang's hand. No need to be nervous. In a way, we're practically fellow townsmen. I hail from Green Willow City next door. 30 years ago, I tested as an 8th grade spirit root, shocking the pavilion. Now, 30 years later, you've tested as a 9th grade spirit root, shocking the pavilion once more. This is our fate. Everyone suddenly understood. So Shunjing Dao was the prodigy from Green Willow City, who tested as a black 8th grade spirit root all those years ago. He was actively building a connection. His attempt to recruit Lu Zhang was crystal clear to everyone present. It meant that once Lu Zhang went to the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion, Shunjing Dao would definitely have his back. Lu Zhang's future prospects are practically limitless. Qin Changsheng clenched his fist in excitement. Muttering to himself, he said, "I told you so. I, Qin Changsheng, have never made a wrong choice in my life." Shunjing Dao and Lu Zhang conversed for a long while. Only after they'd warmed up did they get down to business. Glancing at the kneeling Su family members, he said, "All of you rise." Su Jingyan was the first to stand, saying respectfully, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, please come inside." So the group moved to the main hall. Seated in the host's seat, Shunjing Dao said with a smile, "Young Lu, I heard about the power of your 9th grade spirit root on the way here. Even that girl from the Azure Cloud sect was reduced to tears by you." Lu Zhang was a bit confused. The girl from Azure Cloud sect? Who? Shunjing Dao continued. "Could you give us a demonstration? What wondrous sight appears when you activate your spirit root?" Lu Zhang nodded and stepped to the center of the hall. The pavilion, wanting him to display his abilities, was expected. However, simply activating his spirit root wouldn't fully demonstrate the might of his 9th grade spirit root. So he already had a better idea. "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, could we perhaps make it a sparring match instead?" Shunjing Dao asked with confusion. "Who do you want to spar with?" Lu Zhang smirked. He pointed directly at me. "Jiang Fan, do you dare to compete with me again?" Shunjing Dao looked at me, puzzled, because he realized I couldn't speak and could only respond by writing. He was surprised and mute. Lu Zhang explained, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, you don't know the whole story. The woman I love was taken from me by him through a marriage contract. To win her back, I challenged him. Whoever broke through a cultivation level faster would win. But he used some underhanded method to beat me. I refused to accept it. So I asked you to be our witness, to see how I'll rightfully reclaim my beloved." Hearing this, Vice Pavilion Master Chen frowned. How could a mute bully Lu Zhang, who is a 9th grade spiritual root? Wang Yingfeng quickly stepped into cover for her nephew. Reporting to Vice Pavilion Master Chen, "It's true. Jiang Fan, relying on a past favor he did for us, forced my eldest daughter to marry him. Out of gratitude, we endured the humiliation, letting my daughter reluctantly agree to the marriage. When my nephew was discovered to have a 9th grade spiritual root and wanted to reclaim his love, Jiang Fan cheated to win." As she spoke, she glanced sideways at the Su family members, threatening them to lie for Lu Zhang. Perhaps out of conscience, or perhaps fearing Vice Pavilion Master Chen's authority. No one dared to speak up, but Qin Changsheng's eyes lit up, and he immediately said, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, I guarantee on the Qin family's honor. This is true. 2 people can vouch for it." Vice Pavilion Master Chen's face turned cold. He looked at me with a hint of authority and said, "Exploiting a favor is no different from coercion. Do you dare to compete fairly with Lu Zhang, to win back the one you love?" Su Yuran, standing nearby, was stunned. It was clearly the Su family who betrayed their benefactor and changed the marriage agreement. How to become Jiang Fan exploiting a favor? She opened her mouth to explain, but I stopped her. I raised my pen and wrote, "Words are useless. If fists can settle it, there's no need to argue. How do we compete? How do we compete?" Lu Zhang said arrogantly, "We compete with strength. Do you have the guts for a showdown?" Almost without thinking, I made a stroke with my pen. Seeing the word, Lu Zhang sneered inwardly. What a fool, overestimating himself. I'm at the 5th level of Qi refinement, and I've even secretly practiced the Su family's sword technique these past few days. Where's Jiang Fan? He just got lucky breaking through to Qi refining level 3. How can he beat me? Bring it on. Lu Zhang drew his sword and pointed it at me. I walked to the center of the hall and beckoned him with a finger. Such a casual move drew Qin Changsheng's mockery. How ignorant must one be to challenge a 9th grade spirit root? He kept saying I'd regret it. When he's lying on the ground like a dead dog later, I'll ask if he regrets it. Shunjing Dao also shook his head slightly and sighed. To be so careless against a ninth grade spirit root. This kid is too arrogant. Seeing this, Lu Zheng got angry and snorted coldly. You asked for it. Splitting Mount Hua with the power of Qi refining level 5. He struck with immense spiritual force. I smiled. Lu Zheng hasn't improved at all these days. As the sword shadow came, I released Qi refining level 6 aura. My aura-wrapped finger lightly flicked the blade. The immense force, far beyond what Lu Zheng could withstand, instantly sent his sword flying. Lu Zheng was stunned. He didn't understand what had happened. I changed from a finger to a palm, striking his face. Lu Zheng panicked, circulating his spiritual energy. He roared, throwing a punch to counter. However, the result of the clash was that Lu Zheng was sent flying by my palm, crashing into a tea table before stopping. The hall fell silent, a deathly quiet, broken only by me calmly dusting my sleeve, and the sound of me writing a line of characters. Ninth grade spirit root is nothing special. It was utterly defeated. The completely opposite outcome caught everyone off guard. Su Yining's eyes sparkled. She had already sensed something. Wang Yingfeng, heartbroken, helped him up. Zheng Er, were you too careless? Qin Changxing quickly took out a healing pill and stuffed it into Lu Zheng's mouth. Young Master Lu, don't let your 10-year friendship blind you. Vice Pavilion Master Chun is watching. Everyone chimed in, treating Lu Zheng's defeat as a mere accident. But Chen Jingdao frowned slightly. Clearly, he too noticed something was off. Lu Qingxian clearly said. He witnessed the ninth grade spirit root breakthrough, from Qi refining level 4 to level 7. Why was it easily defeated by a mere Qi refining level 6? He couldn't help but stare at Lu Zheng, reassessing him. Are you truly a ninth grade spirit root? If you deceive me, do you know what crime this is? The Su family was shocked by the words. This single defeat has shaken the authenticity of Lu Zheng's identity. Wang Yingfeng was even more anxious to defend his nephew. Vice Pavilion Master Chun, please give my nephew another chance. Lu Zheng also hurriedly stood up. Vice Pavilion Master Chun, I swear to heaven, I have never deceived you, sir. That day, I truly did detect a ninth grade spiritual root. I was just a bit careless earlier. I'm willing to fight again, to prove my strength. Seeing his firm words, it didn't seem like he was lying. Chen Jingdao nodded slightly. He decided to give Lu Zheng another chance. Then he looked at me and asked, what do you think? Without hesitation, I wrote, he can't win against me. I suppressed my cultivation level. Using less than half my strength, Lu Zheng still couldn't win. This result was just as I had suspected. Lu Zheng is simply not a ninth grade spiritual root. Seeing these 5 words, Lu Zheng's heart filled with rage. Like an angry lion, he roared, Jiang. What skill is it to ambush? Kneel before me. Saying this, he grabbed his sword again and pounced like a fierce tiger. He wanted to defeat Jiang Fan so badly to prove himself. But in his eagerness, his moves were full of openings. Seizing the moment, I casually dodged his sword and landed a kick squarely on his chest. Ugh! Lu Zheng was sent flying again, blood spewing from his mouth. He was clearly injured internally. His second defeat left the entire Su family speechless. 1 loss could be carelessness, but 2, more and more clan members, like Su Yining, gradually began to see the oddity. Chen Jingdao also snorted lightly. A ninth grade spiritual root, just this? He casually pulled out a bronze ruler, similar to the one in the testing tower, and threw it directly in front of Lu Zheng. Test again. Chen Jingdao said in a commanding tone. Lu Zheng gave a bitter smile. Just because I lost twice, you can deny my spiritual root? Fine. Then I'll prove it to you all. Let you see what ninth grade spiritual root truly is. He gripped the bronze ruler tightly, glaring at everyone with anger. Su Zhengyan, I originally intended to elevate the Su family with me, but to pity you all doubt me. So regrettably, your Su family is not worthy of soaring with me. Hearing this, the Su family members panicked. Qin Changsheng quickly said, Young Master Lu, I believe you. I believe you. If Lu Zheng isn't a ninth grade spiritual root, the sky isn't just falling for Lu Zheng. The Qin family sky will collapse too. Lu Zheng gave a slight nod. B, you're my biggest supporter. Don't worry, I won't let you down. He then gripped the bronze ruler tightly. A surge of energy began to rise from its base. First grade, second grade, third grade. When it reached the third grade, the surge slowed. It crawled up like a snail, finally stopping at mid-third grade. Dead silence fell over the hall. You could hear a pin drop. Lu Zheng, the one with the ninth grade spiritual root, was tested again. The result was mid-third grade. Lu Zheng himself was stunned. How is this possible? This can't be. I clearly tested as ninth grade. The test must be wrong. Let me try again. He gripped the bronze ruler once more, but the result remained the same. Still mid-third grade. Lu Zheng panicked. He shook his head. Impossible. This bronze ruler is faulty. Yes, that must be it. Seeing him so deranged as to question Vice Pavilion Master Chen's artifact, Su Yining finally couldn't take it anymore and stood up. She grabbed the bronze ruler. The surge at its base kept rising. It broke through the mid-third grade barrier. reaching the deep blue region of a 6th grade spiritual root. Su Yining looked at Lu Zhang and said, "It seems the bronze ruler is fine. The problem was with your last test result." The hall erupted in an uproar. Even with Chun Zhengdao present, people couldn't help but voice fierce criticism. What the hell? He was never a 9th grade spiritual root. I've been fawning over him for days. Makes me sick. He got off easy. Some already offered themselves, and he took advantage for free. That's just losing your body. Can any of you compare to Patriarch Qin's misery? He just gifted 300,000 worth of low-grade qi refining liquid, and Lu Zhang took it all. Wang Yingfeng, fiercely protective of her nephew, anxiously scolded. Silence. My Zheng is definitely not mid-3rd grade. Definitely not. Su Yining cut her off. Mother, still clinging to hope. We should have seen it during his first match with Jiang Fan. 3 days and 10 bottles of qi refining liquid later, and he still improved slower than Jiang Fan. That's when I started doubting his spiritual root. Wang Yingfeng bit her lip. In truth, she knew better than anyone. She just refused to admit it, because Lu Zhang's 9th grade spiritual root had once been her pride. Looking at the devastated Lu Zhang, she could only comfort Zhang. It seems the bronze ruler in the detection tower malfunctioned. There is no such thing as a 9th grade spiritual root in this world. Your 3rd grade medium is still considered above average in Guizhou City. Hearing this, the heavily struck Lu Zhang felt slightly better. He nodded slightly. That's true. The best is Su Yining with her 6th grade spiritual root. I'm only 3 grades behind her, not too bad. Unexpectedly, Chun Jingdao, his face ashen, put away the bronze ruler, and uttered words that shocked Lu Zhang. Who said Guizhou City has no 9th grade spiritual root? It's just not you. Lu Zhang's eyes widened. There really is a 9th grade spiritual root, just not me. The immense disparity was too much to bear. His blood and qi churned within, and he spat out a large mist of blood on the spot. Collapsing to the ground, twitching incessantly. Similarly struck was Su Yining. Clenching her fists, she couldn't accept it. Guizhou City really has a 9th grade spiritual root. Could it not be a problem with the detection tower? Vice Pavilion Master Chun said slowly. Although it's unknown why the detection tower mistook a 3rd grade medium for a 9th grade spiritual root. Guizhou City indeed has a true 9th grade spiritual root. The daughter of the Qinyun sect master saw it not long ago and sighed in inferiority. However, Vice Pavilion Master Chen frowned. Although Lu Qingxian said she left the Qinyun token with that person. If they don't show it voluntarily, how would I know? Alright then, I'll have to call Lu Qingxian back. After all, only she has seen the 9th grade spiritual root. Su Yining's recently eased mood became heavy again. She tightly clenched her fist. Also want to know, who exactly is this 9th grade spiritual root prodigy? Hearing this, Chun Zhengdao glanced at her. Considering her 6th grade spiritual root, he spoke earnestly. Calm your mind. This 9th grade spiritual root is exceptionally special. Not to mention your 6th grade. Even my 8th grade is world apart from theirs. If you could befriend them, it would be the fortune of a lifetime. The implication was that Su Yining could only look up in admiration, with no qualification for comparison. Su Yining showed a shocked expression. Worlds apart from an 8th grade? Then my 6th grade must be even more distant. Thinking this, she began to accept it somewhat. If a Vice Pavilion Master has resigned to fate, was her measly 6th grade spiritual root? She couldn't help but imagine the peerless grace of that 9th grade spiritual root prodigy. Suddenly, she caught sight of me resting my chin on my hand. Lost in thought, standing still looking so dazzling. He stole the show today. His 6th level qi refining realm is truly impressive. But the more he shines, the more it shows how wrong I was about it before. Jiang Fan, proud of beating a 9th grade spiritual root. Su Yining said coldly. Lu Zhang never trained seriously these years. His mind was elsewhere. His foundation is weak, his sword skills unmastered. Beating him is nothing. I snapped back to reality. I was just thinking about who Chun Zhengdao meant by that 9th grade spiritual root. Even the daughter of the Qinyun sect leader felt inferior. That person must be extraordinary. I wonder how my transparent spiritual root compares to their 9th grade one. Hearing this, I just glanced at Su Yining, not wanting to engage with her. I turned to Su Yuran, writing with a smile. Surprised? Su Yuran looked at me, eyes shining. Nodding repeatedly, she said, "You're amazing, Xiao Fan." Then, Chun Zhengdao leaped onto his flying eagle and soared into the sky, leaving. Su Zhengyan let out a long sigh of relief, slumping into his chair. Thank goodness Vice Pavilion Master Chun is kind-hearted and didn't pursue our impersonation of the 9th grade spiritual root. Otherwise, our Su family would be in big trouble. But it wasn't over yet. A roar filled with fury suddenly exploded. Lu Zhang, everyone flinched. Looking towards the sound, they saw Qin Changsheng, features twisted with rage, looking as if he wanted to devour someone. Furious, fist clenched, he roared, "You useless fool." The one who lost the most wasn't Lu Zhang. It was Qin Changsheng. He bet heavily on Lu Zhang from the start. Now that Lu Zhang's true colors are revealed, forget about losing face. The 10 bottles of low-grade qi refining liquid he gave first are one thing. But just now, when he came to congratulate, he brought gifts worth a sky-high 300,000. The key is, Lu Zhang pretended to be generous and distributed the low-grade qi refining liquid. Most of it already consumed. Impossible to return. Lu Zhang jolted, his face paling as he said, "Patriarch Qin, calm down. I'll find a way to repay you." He was filled with regret. I should have listened to Jiang Fan and not accepted the gifts in the first place. How are you going to pay it back? Qin Changsheng's eyes turned red. He wished he could strangle Lu Zhang to death. He thought the Qin family had latched on Lu Zhang, onto the soul master behind him. That's why they gave him that astronomically expensive congratulatory gift. But knew it would all be for nothing. Seeing Qin Changsheng's complete turn of face, Lu Zhang finally realized. The Qin family is one of the 4 great clans of Lone Boat City. Normally, someone as lowly as him could never hope to climb up to them. Having a 9th grade spiritual root was one thing. Without it, he was nothing in their eyes. Instantly terrified, he didn't dare make a sound. He hid behind Wang Yingfeng. Qin Changsheng roared angrily. "Get the money together and pay me back within 3 days, or don't blame me for being ruthless." With that, he unleashed his powerful foundation establishment first layer cultivation, terrifying everyone from the Su family present. The Su family was only a mid-level clan. How could they withstand the Qin family's towering wrath? After he left, Su Jingyin glared at Lu Zhang with hatred. "You troublemaker, get out. The Su family has no place for an ingrate like you." He was furious. Not only did they gain nothing, they were utterly humiliated, becoming the laughingstock of the entire city. Now, they were even saddled with a debt of 300,000, a staggering sum. Wang Yingfeng, fiercely protective, threw a tantrum. "Su, if you dare drive Zhengye away, then drive me away too." She fell to the ground, kicking her legs and wailing. Su Jingyin was helpless whenever she acted like this. Do you want the Su family to shoulder this debt? That's 300,000 taels of silver. Do you want the whole clan to starve? Wang Yingfeng was speechless for a moment, but she still wanted to protect her nephew. You can't blame Zhengye for this. It's all Jiang Fan's fault. Yes, if Jiang Fan hadn't brought bad luck living next to Lu Zhang, how would Zhengye have mistaken himself for having a 9th grade spiritual root? Hearing such unreasonable nonsense, Su Jingyin couldn't help getting angry. He couldn't resist speaking the fair truth. Let's be honest, Lu Zhang brought this on himself. He'll pay this debt himself. Seeing her tantrum was useless. Wang Yingfeng directed all her resentment at me. Why didn't you give in to Zhengye earlier? If you had, none of this would have happened. Su Yuran was also furious at Wang. That's going too far. It was Lu Jing who was relentlessly bullying Xiao Fan. And now you're blaming him? Seeing this little girl also talking back to her, Wang Yingfeng grew even angrier. You're rebelling, are you? Fine, fine. You two really think just because you're a couple now, you can gang up on me? I'm telling you. This marriage isn't a done deal yet, Jiang Fan. You bring me the betrothal gifts within 3 days. If I'm not satisfied, this marriage is off. Hearing this, Su Yuran's face paled. Wang Yingfeng was taking out her anger on Jiang Fan like this. The little bit of loose silver she had previously given Jiang Fan would never pass muster. She bit her red lips, about to soften and apologize, but I stopped her by taking her hand. With my other hand, I picked up a pen and wrote bluntly, "If the betrothal gifts satisfy you, shut your foul mouth from now on." I put up with Wang Yingfeng long enough. Turning a blind eye to Lu Jing is one thing, but repeatedly bullying Su Yuran is another. This time, I'll make sure she never has the chance to meddle in our marriage again. Wang Yingfeng glared, seething, and roared. Fine, good for you. If you can actually give me satisfactory betrothal gifts, I'll never interfere in your affairs again. But remember this, they must satisfy me. Understood? I calmly wrote a line, then just wait to shut up. Wang Yingfeng clenched her fists, gritted her teeth, and said, "Fine, I'll wait." Then she left the hall with a dark expression. Su Jingyin looked at me. He couldn't help but see me in a new light. At least you have some backbone. Seeing me defend Su Yuran so fiercely, as her father, he felt a sense of relief deep down. However, for Jiang Fan to gather betrothal gifts, that would satisfy Wang Yingfeng within 3 days. It was probably not that easy, he thought to himself. Should he help Jiang Fan and his daughter? After everyone dispersed, Su Yuran followed me back to the room, looking anxious. She couldn't help but worry. "Xiao Fan, you shouldn't have agreed just now. Do you know why Aunt Wang wants satisfactory betrothal gifts? And why the deadline is exactly 3 days?" With no one around, I smiled and spoke. So how could I not? She just wanted a large sum of silver to clean up the mess for her precious nephew. As long as the betrothal gift exceeds 300,000 taels, even if she's reluctant to agree to our relationship, she'll have to accept it for Lu Zhang's sake. Su Yuran angrily punched my chest. You knew that and still agreed? That's 300,000 taels of silver. Where on earth are you going to get that? Rob a bank? I shrugged and muttered under my breath. The bank might not even have as much as I do. I promised to marry Su Yuran in a grand fashion. So even without Wang Yingfeng demanding a high betrothal gift, I was prepared to offer a generous one. As night fell, after Su Yu Ran left, I started refining Qi refining liquid. With a day's experience, I handled it with ease. By dawn, I had 40 bottles of high grade and 20 bottles of supreme grade Qi refining liquid before me. The efficiency of the supreme grade was even higher than yesterday. After selling the high grade to the Chun family, I get another 400,000 taels, added to the previous 500,000. That's a huge sum of 900,000 taels. I was about to head out to the Chun families when Su Ran approached, beaming. Xiao Fan, Chun Siling invited me to her mansion and asked me to bring you along. Who? Chun Siling, the one from the Chun family. Noticing my confusion, Su Ran happily explained. We're close friends. We've known each other for years. I want to ask for her help with a betrothal gift, unless it's a matter of life and death for our marriage. She really doesn't like asking for favors. Now, she has no choice but to turn to Chun Siling. When we meet her, you must make a good impression, okay? She might be the only one who can help us. I scratched my nose and reluctantly followed Su Yu Ran towards the Chun family. Feeling the heavy Qi refining liquid in my arms, I felt a bit awkward. I can't visit like this. Better sell the liquid to the Chun family first. As we neared the Chun family's gate, I said to Su Yu Ran, why don't you wait here? I'll go buy a gift. Su Yu Ran was taken aback, then remembered. This was Jiang Fan's first visit to the Chun mansion. It's proper to bring a gift. You're so thoughtful. Hurry back then. Chun Siling is very busy. She managed to find time for us. We mustn't keep her waiting. I nodded and slipped into the crowd, then ducked into an alley while Su Yu Ran wasn't looking. Then changed clothes and arrived at the Chun family gate. The Treasure Pavilion manager was waiting for Su Yu Ran. Seeing me, he exclaimed happily, Senior, you came so early. From last night till today, countless people urged the Chun family to sell top-grade Qi refining liquid. Many even offered double the price, just to get one bottle of top-grade Qi refining liquid. But Chun Siling worried this Soul Master Senior might not provide enough top-grade Qi refining liquid today, so didn't dare promise. Unexpectedly, the senior came so quickly. Senior, please come in. I'll take you to see the young lady. In the Chun family backyard, Chun Siling was practicing sword in the courtyard to calm her restless emotions. After thinking all night, she still couldn't decide whether to devote herself to this senior who's interested in her. First, the age difference. Second, he might not fulfill his promise to train Soul Master apprentices. Young lady, the senior brought the Qi refining liquid. The manager whispered, interrupting her cultivation. Chun Siling was startled. Turning her head, she saw the mysterious Soul Master, wearing loose robes wrapped tightly. Her heart couldn't help but feel joy. Joy because he kept his promise faithfully, coming early to deliver top-grade Qi refining liquid. Then her mood became troubled again, because she hadn't decided whether to accept his hints. Thinking, she secretly squeezed the truth-seeking crystal hidden in her sleeve. Steadying herself, she put down her sword and quickly ran over. Her pretty face flushed from exercise, sweat-soaked martial robe clinging tightly to her body, outlining full, tempting curves. I couldn't help but glance one more time before quickly looking away. Placing 40 bottles of top-grade Qi refining liquid on the table. All here. Chun Siling felt somewhat nervous, because she had been watching the Soul Master Senior's gaze. Although he only glanced at her once more, she still noticed it, making her heart feel even more troubled. Quickly checking the top-grade Qi refining liquid, confirming no issues. She immediately took out prepared silver notes and 50 portions of materials. Senior, everything's here. She bit her lip slightly, deliberately keeping distance while handing them to me. I looked surprised. What's wrong with her? Would I eat her? Fine. I'll come again tomorrow. Putting things in my robe, I turned to leave. Senior, wait. Suddenly, Chun Siling stopped me. Senior, have some tea before leaving. I carefully brewed a bowl of spirit tea for you. As she spoke, a maid carefully brought over a bowl of spirit tea. Rich tea aroma. Clearly top-grade spirit tea that can enhance cultivation. It's only available to great clans. No one else can get their hands on it. My appetite was whetted, so I sat down and took a sip. While I had my head down, Chun Siling turned around and quietly embedded 2 thin slices of transparent crystal into her eyes. Then she took a deep breath, turned around nervously, and looked at me. She secretly hoped in her heart that this senior, who had given her a hint, wouldn't be too old. At least I would make her feel a little better. She'd already given up any high hopes for his appearance. As long as he wasn't too ugly, she could accept it. But when the truth-seeking crystal slowly penetrated my thick robe and revealed my true appearance underneath, Chun Siling was stunned.